starting point for the spring campaign for some really talented runners, including a multiple Group 1 winner, number 1, Boban, the first of the runners we have a look at in the mounting yard.
They're set to go, and they're off and racing, and Boban came out very poorly in the centre. He's missed it by a couple of lengths. Sweet Idea began fast. Thumper's going to go with it in the early stages and come across, and then Massini followed by Rebel Dane, who hopped out nicely. He'll settle just off the speed in rear. It's Sweet Idea finding the fence in front. Leads from Thumper. Massini's in the box seat. Rebel Dane fourth. Kiramosa 3/4 away on the rail. Then a length or so to Weary, followed by Hawkspur, Laser Hawk and Boban behind those two stayers as they near the home turn. It's Sweet Idea in front. Thumps on the outside in second. Massini now getting a rails run as he steered away from the fence on the leader again. Rebel Dane's pulled to the centre of the track and is about to go after them, followed by Kiramosa. Sweet Idea had a kick just in front from Massini and then came further back. Thump, Rebel Dane down the outside, and Boban is starting to weave into the clear. It's Massini and Sweet Idea, followed by Rebel Dane. It's Sweet Idea and Massini. Sweet Idea! Sweet Idea's won it from Massini and Rebel Dane, and Boban flashed home on the outside, followed by Weary, and then came Hawkspur, Kiramosa, Laser Hawk, and Thumps dropped away to finish last of all.
Oh, Sweet Idea, the girl, Gay Waterhouse and Tommy Berry. But the leaders had a nice time. And I tell you what, the eye catcher, no doubt, was Boban. He's back. Wow, what a performance, Boban. $2 million, Mark. She's a beauty.
Oh, she is. You know, the best part about it.
All stakes first up, won by Sweet Idea. She's now won a Silver Slipper, a Magic Millions 3-year-old, a Light Fingers Stakes. Very, very good filly. And, of course, she was ridden by Tom Berry, who's...
even when she does get beaten, it's by a short margin. And when she does win, it's always by a short margin. So she's just a real fighter and knows where the line is and but, you know, I hope she's up to Group 1 level. I think she is. But I think Gay will just have to, you know, plan her races out very carefully for her and try and find a weaker Group 1 because she's probably not right up to the top Group 1 horses.
There was a lot of good runs in the race.
This time.
Exactly.
This was the race that he should have won if there's such a thing.
I thought Boban was unlucky. He was snagged again at the start, which is natural for him, but he never really had time to get balanced until now, and he motored late. I thought his performance was excellent. Kiramosa. Race since the VRC. What a run that
and
was.
Hawkspur.
Fox Plate won the Group 1 Turnbull at its start prior. Happy Trails resuming from a spell in the Group 3 Spring Stakes. Second pick at 3:30 behind Raziz. Claire Lindop to run a grey. On track, Happy Trails, 290 out to 320 behind.
Happy Trails jump well out wide. Slow to move, Mr. Good Cat. Going back, Our Little Treasure. Caricatus won the start. Raziz quickly to the outside of the leader. Lighted Up's going to balance up. Caricatus had the lead. He'll be hard to stitch in the lead. Led by a half, but Raziz right outside of him second. The favourites up close and handy. Lighted Up's running third. The outside there of Mr. Good Cat. Outlandish Lad. Then came Daytona Grey starting to work into it. Here comes Happy Trails. He pulls to the outside, then Pinky Tuscadero, and Our Little Treasure is last of all. They turn now in the Spring Stakes, and going to the lead was Raziz. Caricatus, the inside, still there though. Out wider, Lighted Up, then Outlandish Lad. Where's Happy Trails? He's still 3 off them, coming to the outside. Raziz went for home. Lindop shook off the challengers, and she kicked away on Raziz. 2 on Lighted Up. There's no Happy Trails. Out wide, Daytona Grey, but Raziz in front from Lighted Up, Caricatus, and Raziz is going to be too good in the Spring Stakes. Second, Lighted Up. Third will be Caricatus, and fourth, a close one. Our Little Treasure, Happy Trails, and Daytona Grey lined up. Then came Mr. Good Cat, Outlandish Lad, and Pinky Tuscadero last in. Raziz, comfortable, easy. Making her return after that terrible fall a little bit earlier on. But look, there was a few handy horses in there. Probably Happy Trails was the headline act. What did you think of his run?
I thought he was disappointing. I think he was in the right spot to chime into the race and at least finish it off. I don't think he did. Look, this is a nice spot, 3 deep with cover, approaching the turn for a horse like him.
Welcome back to Rosehill Gardens Runners Parade before race 5. This is the Smithfield RSL San Domenico Stakes. Some of Sydney's better 3-year-olds going around here as they head towards a possible Golden Rose start. They'll try and win this Group 3 on the way through. And Nostradamus is the favourite at $4. From your grit, 4-4.
Firm back into 11. Nostradamus, wonder what he knows. 4 into 380. Bold Circles out to 20 as have latched onto. They're the 3 favourite.
Racing now. And Washington Heights jumped okay. Nostradamus was easily the best into stride, now being taken on by moving up on the outside, Wangina to head it. And going with it is Sheer Style, followed by Egret, then Bugatti, who dwelled at the start, and he's ended up off the speed in about fifth spot. Then Washington Heights, followed by Bold Circle Law, and Hampton Quarters last of all. Sheer Style worked away to the front and got clear, and leads from Wangina in second spot. Then Egret, who's railed up into third. Nostradamus are half away on the outside, followed by Bugatti. Washington Heights is further back. This leader's gone further ahead, coming into the straight. Then Bold Circle, Law and Hampton Court. Well, Sheer Style has zipped right away. It's to the lead about 3 or 4 lengths on Egret, who's giving chase with, on the outside of it, Wangina. Nostradamus coming down the centre. And then Bugatti and Washington Heights are starting to pick up ground near the inside. It's Washington Heights and Nostradamus are heading the lead together. Nostradamus is in front on the outside from Washington Heights, and Nostradamus beat Washington Heights and Law, and then Wangina, followed by Bold Circle, Egret, and with them is Bugatti, Hampton Court, and Sheer Style, who showed plenty of speed, got pretty tired late and finished at the back of the field.
The TVN Market Mover wins number 3, Nostradamus. James McDonald for the Hawk Stable.
Fantastic. So to come here and support, he's got to continue on now, but he's on the right path.
Well done.
And then Wangina.
Well, both Team Hawks and Gerald Ryan had fantastic juvenile seasons last year. Good to see them come back at 3-year-olds with Nostradamus winning, but in Washington.
Going forward, where they're going to go in trip. I just got a feeling like I think they're all blessed that a horse called Rubric went amiss, and we'll be back later in the spring.
Yeah, but I think a race like the Golden Rose and maybe the Caulfield Guineas would be the target for Nostradamus, which I doubt Ruby could be heading for races like that. But he's got a miss.
He'll go to Coolmore at the end.
Obviously.
Stakes won by Nostradamus. He's a half-brother to Star Witness. He was a Group 1 winner. And look, this colt might win a Group 1 as well. That was only his 4th start yesterday, and he's heading in the right direction.
My word, he's a quality colt. There's no doubt about it. He's not very big. He's neat and he's strong. And he was beautifully ridden by McDonald. He put him in the 1-1. And the track was playing down the middle. So
they are strong. They've got a strong bunch of 3-year-olds. I'm just not sure on those 3-year-old colts yet. Nothing yesterday has changed my view yet. I'm happy to be convinced that they're a good bunch, but I'm not yet.
We've still got Alma.
Main quaddy for the afternoon here. We start with the feature 3-year-old fillies race. This is the Quezette Stakes. Interesting here, a few of these girls are a little bit warm in cold conditions, primarily 1 and 6 here, but we'll get to that shortly with Sammy and Michelle for their observations. Rawston
jumped away nice and evenly. London Lolly got away well. Away fast, Novel Dancer going fast on the outside. And Empress O'Reilly jumped well, and so too did Sunset Rock. So it's a bit of a battle. Sunset Rock goes through and takes up the running at the 800 metres now. From Empress O'Reilly, second on the inside today, and then Royal Schnitzel, a length and a half, the red cap of London Lolly. Novel Dancer out wide, pressing on, and they're followed all sewn up. Lex Get Ready down the hatch, and a length and a half away. Sabatini on the outside, and Calabec is last as they swing the corner. Sunset Rock being tackled on the outside by Royal Schnitzel, and Novel Dancer has rushed up and gone to them around the home turn ahead of London Lolly, all sewn up, and Sabatini is making ground. Royal Schnitzel in front, Novel Dancer having a red-hot go on the outside, but Royal Schnitzel went down to the 200 metres and she accelerated 2 in front. Sabatini starting to stoke up down the outside. Royal Schnitzel in front, 100 left to go. Sabatini starting to really come home hard. Sabatini raced to Royal Schnitzel. Sabatini put a nose in front and won. Sabatini a half ahead to Royal Schnitzel. 3 lengths away, Novel Dancer. London Lolly will be 4th, and then Carlabec and Sunset Rock followed by Down the Hatch. Back behind those then, weakening out of it, was Empress O'Reilly. Lex
Price win, tip pick of the yard from Michelle Payne, and wins at $21 better on the totes around the country. Ross, that's a look to have it won, but you can just sense a build. But look, so we'll just see how she pulls up. I mean, it's a good race to win.
Firstly on her, Sabatini, meant to be up first 4, back last, and swoops on them.
Oh, a fantastic run too, and just to show how good that run was, 3 of the first 4 over the line were sitting in the first 4 for most of the running. It was a bunch field after a willing little battle for the speed early, but they really packed up, and the classier 3 fillies really drew away from the corner. Sabatini came from the back and managed to break 23 seconds for the last 400. No mean feat. It was a pretty good effort. Royal Schnitzel, good on speed. Novel Dancer's probably the unlucky.
I like the leader here, the favourite, who goes down, Royal Schnitzel. But look at her. She's pricking the ear. She doesn't know what it's all about. And when she sprints clear. I think she just floats a bit. And when challenged, I like the way she dug in and had a go. So I'm prepared to give her another chance. There's a bit to run in this race. The horse running last in the second set of Aquanita colours in the white hat there. It's any old odds. Let's get ready. I'm looking for her coming back in grade for a midweek race or something like that, because she should
get a crack at him.
She should have run a clear fourth here by a long, long way. Her effort was good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I also agree with you on the first two there. Now, the fillies had been a better bunch of two. She was just starting to lift and the post arrived.
Yeah, she had a go that second filly.
I quite like those two. Of the 3-year-olds, those two fillies, I quite like the most at the moment.
Tip Sabatini. They have a nice horse here. The fillies are down for the Quezette, but now we've got the boys coming up in the Vane Stakes in a race dominated here by Mick Price. The market will tell us he's got 3 key players, or 2 primarily, the top of the market. 5 Jabali, 330, Nordic Empire, 370. The movers, they've both been drifters, but the market went up 126%.
Jabali jumped okay. Nordic Empire got away well. So did Get the Nod on the outside, and I'm the General driving through with Stingray. I Am the General has superior pace in the early stages and goes to a narrow lead. Boomwa moving up on the outside and getting through on the rails. Nordic Empire, that's the 3 in front of Get the Nod, and Jabali's 5th on the rails, being followed by Stingray. Back behind those horses, then on the outside, Honestly, 1 further back, Zululand, and 2 lengths away came Raining Meteor. They're being followed then by Just for Starters a long way back, and so is Cornrow, and 2 lengths to Moonlight Hustler. Around the turn, Boomwa the outside and Nordic Empire. Jabali tracking up behind them, followed by I Am the General, and then came Got the Nod as they swing around the turn. And Nordic Empire and Boomwa, 2 in front of Jabali, given full bore. Got the Nod coming home well on the outside, and then Zululand. Nordic Empire, Boomwa, Got the Nod coming at them. Jabali battling a bit. Got the Nod's full of running. Got the Nod has raced up in the final 100 metres, and Got the Nod came away, won it by a length to Stingray getting up a second. Boomwa third. Nordic Empire fourth, and then Zululand, Jabali, followed then by I Am the General, and back behind those to finish was Raining Meteor.
Well, I'm sure this will mean a lot in many, many ways for Lloyd Kennewell. Well done to him. It's a blowout in both the 3-year-old features this afternoon, but both descending wins for the fillies and the boys here, but Get the Nod descends on them here. Stingray.
The old man's a bit of a Midnight Oil fan, and he came up with the old US forces Get the Nod, so that's how he got his name, over a few bottles of red.
It's great stuff, mate. I'm sure all in racing wish you the best both on and off the
track.
Bought for just 18,000. He can do that. Lloyd Kennewell find a cheapie, 18,000 by US Ranger. Only had 34 foals on the ground here in Australia. That's where the name comes from. Extrapolating battles to fight than racing.
Yeah, incredible. I actually spoke to Lloyd on another topic on Wednesday, and he was in the hospital when he took my call, and you could just tell he was still in shell shock, he and Mel, with the news that young Nick was crook, and you could see the emotion in the trainer yesterday in the post-match interview there with you. He was just, I know he's got a very, very high opinion of him, and Joe Bowditch wasn't to be pocketed in this race, was he? 3 wide the trip and still too strong. Arguably in that, just that edge of the worst, and the job done there. Away from the winner, I thought Zululand was fantastic. We spoke to Stephen Baster about it. Stingray, unlucky, and for a horse that was winning at 900 metres last prep, he looks to have a bit of scope getting towards 1,400 this.
Just over racing a little, but I love the way he finished off the race. They run much faster time than the fillies division on the race prior to this. So it's probably a solid race. I don't think they're up to the Sydney 3-year-olds. In fact, I think they're a long way behind the Sydney 3-year-olds. So look, Stingray was probably a little unlucky. I thought Zululand getting held up in the red and the yellow there on the fence. He never gets a chance to sort of wind into his race, and he'll probably be at his best when he gets to a mile. But all honours with the winner. You have to say you like the way he finished this race off.
I do, and I think you make a good point. I do think these Melbourne 3-year-olds are behind the Sydney 3-year-olds, but I think that is very common at this time of year. Melbourne, hard to get them wound up tight this early. Melbourne trainers don't target races this early, whereas Sydney, with the Golden Rose having moved everything forward, those horses are up and running. Look, they may be a better than Melbourne 3-year-olds are. I think it's hard to read.
For race number 8, the Paper Lawrence Group 2, Puissance de Lune trying to go back-to-back. Of course, a much different scenario this year than last. Support coming. Your beauty, 320 into $3. Not many shifts away. This market's been pretty solid for the last 3 days. Puissance de Lune went up to 60 and now has met the market, 320 back into $3. Down to 117% as we look at these. with the shape.
Here's Ladari lining up into the gates now. Gig goes in. Stand by for a start. They're off. And King Capel goes back to the tail end, and Puissant Saloon jumps nice and evenly. He's up in the first three or so. Zamora had it in the early stages from Gig and pressing on Ladari 3 wide and 4 wide. Star Rolling 2.5 lengths away. Puissant Saloon settling off that hectic speed battle. Followed then by Let's Make a Deal and Spillway on the outside. 2 lengths to 4, King Capel and Brambles last. Zamora holds them out and goes to the railway side and neck in front. Star Rolling fired up a little bit, wants to pull second. 2 lengths away, Ladari dropped in for a nice trail now. 2 lengths in front of Gig. They're being followed. Let's Make a Deal, a half the outside. Puissant Saloon and then Spillway. Puissant is out 3 wide there. King Capel on the rails. And back behind them, Brambles and Forteller heading towards the 500 metres. They've backed off the tempo. And Zamora, the leader, a neck in front of Star Rolling. And 2 lengths away, third, Ladari. Gig coming on, and they're followed. Let's Make a Deal. Back behind them, Puissant Saloon about to be let loose on the outside. Star Rolling claims the lead at the home turn. Ladari and Gig are running on. Zamora battling back on the fence. Puissant Saloon given full bore. He's about 3 lengths off. Star Rolling at the 150. Had it narrowly. Spillway's getting over his heels now. Star Rolling from Spillway. Gig on the outside. Star Rolling in front. Spillway driving at Star Rolling. Photo finish between Spillway, who dived at Star Rolling. Not much between them, and a photo for third too. Giggers up there with Forteller, best work late, and Ladari, and then Puissant Saloon. He ground away in the straight, being followed by Let's Make a Deal, Zamora, Brambles, and King Capel back at the tail.
It's inside here. Here comes the photo. Star Rolling inside. The official print is up. Let's show you. Star Rolling gets it by the narrowest. You thought the head down Spillway, but Star Rolling riding the speed here for Basta. Gets up first up here today, and Star Rolling wins. Spillway second. Giga.
Speed and can roll along on a good tempo like that. So he's it makes it easier when they put himself in the race.
Spillway.
Lightly raced, 12th start, 5th win for Star Rolling. Casino Prince, galloper for Peter Morgan and Craig Widdowson. All Aussies prep and lightly raced, 12th start, 5th win for Star Rolling. Casino Prince, galloper for Peter Morgan and Craig Widdowson. All Aussies prep and look, he's going really well. Was this tempo related, do you think? I mean, that's his pattern, that's his asset, for sure.
Oh, look, if you watch the race, you could make an argument for a few of them. I mean, I think I did a lot of work going up the hill, which showed the last 50. Foley got held up a little bit in the straight, but he had a softer run than me, so I think there's merit in both of their runs.
On that, and his
For race number 8, Lawrence Stakes, Star Rolling. First up since the Australian Cup, he did run third to Fiorente back in the autumn, and this morning his trainer Peter Morgan.
Peter, we're just watching the concluding stages.
Rolling? Let's talk about a few other horses. Puissant Saloon, what do we do with him?
Look, he gets a pass mark. He's first up after a long spell. Wide, no cover, hands and heels to the line. You know, pass without raving.
I didn't pass him.
You didn't?
I gave him a fail.
Okay.
He may improve, but I gave him a fail on that. I know he travelled wide, and that's not ideal, but he travelled very comfortably there. He is a very good horse first up. I was expecting him, at least with the way he was travelling on the corner here.
He wasn't racing to Cox Plate last year.
I know that, but he's a very good first up horse, and he looked quite fit. And he travelled up behind them here. Look at him. He's on the bit here, and I thought, okay, you're going to get yourself in the race here. And he just went as flat as a tack.
Nice return from Spillway.
Spillway was good because you see him here in those blue and red colours with the white stars on his cap. Just took him 2 or 3 strides longer to get off the heels of Star Rolling. If he'd have got off those heels a little bit earlier, the horse just didn't want to come out. He was just a bit slow to react. If he comes out, he wins. And then we're all raving about, you know, Spillway. But I think it was a very good run. I'd be very happy with it.
I've got doubts about the race.
Into here, we'll get Richie and Mark's thoughts on some of these too. But the American St. Ledger, of course, Dan Dino was a horse going for back-to-back. Here's the vision. We'll get the wash up shortly. What about this for a great call? The winner, Pizza Man.
Got held up, World Tap, Admiral Kitten, and Big Kick plummeted back to last. It's now Pizza Man into the stretch. Pizza Man leads by 4. Dan Dino trying hard and trying to reel in the Pizza Man. High the stands from left back, Alfana Beach running on. They come inside the final half furlong. The Pizza Man as Douglas heels in. Dandino Allhart. It's the Pizza Man. The Pizza Man with his biggest delivery yet.
Oh, outstanding. His greatest delivery, the Pizza Man. Well, invite him now. The caller is Lee, not the horse. Second, third, fourth here are the keys for you here.
Yeah, looking last, but the track was, it started raining in the morning. The track just chopped up badly. That's a return to his form. And that, that is a great run. And the Pizza Man, I don't mind a pizza, but that was a great run by Dan Dean. That was a great run by Dan Dean. I spoke to Darren Dance on the way in, and he's wrapped and he's back on target for the Caulfield Cup.
And Adelaide, now plenty of interest here. Of course, this horse will be going to Chris Waller. Here's Adelaide need to win here really to cement an invitation basically into the Cox Plate field.
Back to Global View, worked off the rail. And Divine Oath last. Heads her turn for home. It's Adelaide. Adelaide has swooped down in front of Tourist. General Jack between horses. Sheldon Highball. Global View down the center of the course. Divine Oath was outpaced. Adelaide drifts. Coming inside the final half furlong, but keeping on for Ryan Moore. Tourist toward the rail. It's Adelaide. And Adelaide pushed out to win the Secretariat Stakes. Tourist was second. Sheldon third.
You got a lot of your voice, don't you? Pushed out. I went to the Secretariat. That's significant, obviously.
Yeah, Bruce, he's a very, very good horse. I mean, in his 6 starts, he's been first or second. He ran second in the King Edward over the Royal Ascot behind Eagle Top. Is a very good horse. He ran second in the Belmont Derby last start in the US, and he's gone one better there in the Secretariat. He's a real serious horse. Obviously, all the word is he'll come down, trained by Aidan. I'm pretty sure Aidan will train him in the Cox Plate, and looking forward to him coming.
Well, that's great.
In terms of depth of the race, it was a fairly average sort of Grade 1. Tourists hadn't been to that level before.
Okay, Arlington Million, our key runners here. Lee, what might be coming out of this batch? A good field too.
Moss is next as they approach the final 150 yards. It's a willing foe, but Red Caddo is trying to get to the far side of him. Sizemos is coming to do them as well. 3 in line as they drive towards the line. Sizemos has grabbed it to willing foe. Seal of approval.
Well, that's a good deep race. As I say, might only be a Group 3. Willing Foe won the Ebor last year. We've got to love the way that Sizemos by Delicati, of course, who stands in Australia now, having a really good run. Marco Body, of course. He was coming anyway. But
The Mackenzie Stakes, of course, last year. The winner was Cawthon from New Zealand, but behind it was the Cox Plate winner, second, Seamus Award, third, the Guineas winner, Long John. Let's see what comes out of this. Here's the market where favourite and Arroyo for Godolphin heavily backed in the early betting, 6 into 320, went up 320. But the longer odds here, Sovereign Duke, 12.
Set to go. They're off. Kavika just a touch slow to move, and Aruhu pings away well and finds the lead in the early part, but there's Rich Enough driving through with Tudor, and now Sovereign Duke pushes up as well. And as they settle down, Petrology's amongst it, so it's a real keen tussle for the early lead, and it's being won for the moment by Rich Enough, who holds out Petrology by a half. 2 lengths away, Sovereign Duke, and Tudor's running fourth, 2 in front of Aruhu. They're being followed by Kavika down on the inside, and then Coram, a couple of lengths to Turfane, and then Merion. And Fast Cash is last of all. Rich Enough at the 600 metres, led by about a half. Petrology running second. Just in behind them, Aruhu moving up 3 wide. And Sovereign Duke waits on a run, followed by Tudor as they neared the bend. Merion off and running, and then Coram. Kavika a long way back, awkwardly placed, followed by Turfane and Fast Cash. Coming around the turn, Rich Enough narrowly from Petrology. Aruhu starting to run on well down the outside, and then came Merion. Rich Enough the leader into the straight from Petrology. Aruhu, Merion and Fast Cash coming, but Rich Enough left them behind. Fast Cash running on strongly. Rich Enough it in by 2.5 lengths to Fast Catch, and Turfane ran third. Then Petrology and Merion Aruhu weakened in the run home, and they were followed then by Kavika, who got back and never came into the race, and Tudor's well back. So was Sovereign Duke, and the last one to finish is Coram.
Well, he's made a good field look pretty average here. Absolutely brilliant stuff here from Rich Enough, and there's been some huge bets landed at long odds here. $41 first markets returns $12 a tote, 41 into 17. Had a soft trial Monday. Now they've no loafing here. Off a standing start out in 23.85, 35.03, quickest first half of the day, and then quickens off it. Wow, 110.16. Seeing, believing. Found one here, Rich Enough, and well done to Kenny Keys. deserves it. And from back, of course, not sure if you have a bet.
Guess it's more just he's a big kid. Dwayne's come down and jumped him out a couple of times for me this period. So he can, I believe he'll improve just mentally.
And
third. Oh, fantastic. Went for the first half standing 35.03, virtually split the same coming back here, riding the speed. Second start in the race. There's no loafers behind here. Marion Aruya, good horses. Fast Cash in the back, outstanding. Kenny's biggest win in the race would probably be the Cranbourne Cup with Boom and Zoom, but he bred this. He had the mum. Of course, the half-brothers went out to 2,040 metres. Exciting stuff. Good to see Kenny. He's just a worker, a lovely family. Good on him. Nice horse.
And we said yesterday, Bruce, you can often find a handy sort of horse, but I don't think we've seen one in this class of rich enough. The potential this horse has going forward. He was brutal yesterday. He was just footless, you know, to ride that sort of speed and then break the field like he did off the corner. And with that acceleration, where did that come from? We got a hint of ability from this horse at Moonee Valley last preparation, chasing Bull Pit, but he went to a whole another level yesterday. Look, Petrology was with him, couldn't go and stayed on okay for a horse looking for a mile. I thought Marion was okay as well.
Marion was good. Kavika was the only other in the race.
Yep. Totally. You see him in all the run-throughs in the yellow silks with the big green star back towards the rails on the inside. Just never, ever got a crack at them. I think the horse had plenty there if he would have found the gaps.
Mover from tab.com.au. So
I'm
someone
a bit nervous
like him,
about this horse.
well, he's going places and he's still immature, apparently.
Watch this on the corner when he takes off. He sits in front here, and he did get his own way in front. And they did go. I reckon, I haven't looked at the time, but I'll bet they negatively split the race. He took off here, gave him one cut with a stick. There was 3 and 4 lengths on him. This is a very, very smart 3-year-old. You can't do that at only your second run in a race and first up and not be pretty smart. I know he's in the right part of the track, but he's smart.
The thing is, he's got to stretch it out to a mile. If he can stretch that speed out to a mile, they are cooking with gas. But if the track's playing like you say it did and up the fence was the go, how good was the second horse there?
Oh, very.
It was sensational. So
very good.
Oh, look, he looks pretty good, the winner, even though he was big odds. I'll bow to say that he's top class.
Well, at Rock, let's get into the mounting yard and have a look at the runners. We're 10 minutes out with Better Land as the fave. Testarossa, General Nadim, Schnitzel, they have won this race in the past. It is a quality 3-year-old that traditionally wins the up and coming. 10 minutes out.
Better Land, $3 to $2.88 to $3.20, but the money's been on throughout the week. $41 Lord Beckworth, Panzer Division 15 to 17. Chiro Iam, $15 into 12, and the bottom one is
Better Land broke in front. He jumped very quickly, but Liberation's coming through, and Valentia showing a bit of speed on the outside, followed by Mersu. Panzer Division is handy on the inside early on from Hero I Am. And then further back in behind them, Scissor Kick. Now, Mersu was trapped a bit wide, and he's starting to ease back past midfield now, but he's still a little bit deep, followed by Shooting to Win and Lord Beckworth. Liberation led as they come down to the 800-metre mark from the stablemate Valentia. And then Panzer Division, Better Land is running fourth, followed by Hero I Am, and then came Mersu. With those horses there is Scissor Kick, followed by Shooting to Win and Lord Beckworth. So Liberation in front near the 600. From Valentia, and then Panzer Division, Better Land the favourite, fourth on the outside. Here I Am is back on the fence, followed by Mersu, Scissor Kick in the centre, and then Shooting to Win and Lord Beckworth. So Liberation turns for home in front, stayed away from the inside from Valentia. Better Land's hooked out to the centre of the track with Mersu, Panzer Division down near the centre. Oh, Liberation bumped heavily with Valentia, and there was a chain reaction there with Better Land and Mersu also copping some interference, but Liberation is nicely clear over the concluding stages. Better Land's trying to pick up again. He's ducking off the track again, this leader, and getting up on the inside. Panzer Division and Scissor Kick, and Panzer Division will win it from Scissor Kick and Liberation, who's thrown it away, followed by Better Land, who got severely hampered up the straight. Then Valentia, followed by Here I Am, Shooting to Win. Mersu copped interference as well, and Lord Beckworth at the back of the field in a real roughhouse affair.
Well, it's a Quinella for Paul Massara. This is very, very close, this. Well, I reckon the Scissor Kick's got the bob. It's going to be close. One thing we know is that Liberation will be barred from racing until he sorts out his manners, because that's not fair to the other owners. They've been poleaxed 7 times down the straight. Forget about him costing himself the race. He's cost the rest of them the race. Kathy O'Hara's in front. You watch here. Oh. So this is very close. Scissor Kick on the outside. Penn will lose that on a protest. Then you got Valencia and also Better Land. And then you got Mersalt. Both were just given no hope with Liberation hitting them. No fault of Tommy's Berries. You can't both of them.
Well, I had Panzer Division more heading towards the Spring Champion Stakes and obviously Scissor Kick heading towards the Golden Rose. So that's the direction they were heading in, but they might both end up in the Golden Rose.
You want to stand in just bide time? You're happy with the dead heat, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sri is the winner, so congratulations.
Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you.
Well, I'll get Kathy. Now, that's a letdown, isn't it?
It is a letdown, but anyway, it's good for Paul to run first and second anyway. That's what he wanted before the race.
You gave him a peach. Well, hello. I think Ray Murray and the stewards will have a little check of that. But obviously up in the judges' box, it gets you can see a higher definition, but that looks like a dead heat to mine. We'll bring you update over the...
There, so stewards aren't satisfied that there is a...
And the official photo finish is through now, and the winner number 3 says a kick, beating 9 Panzer Division. Valente, you got third on protest. Better Land should have won. That's my view. Rich, what are we taking out of all of this?
Well, what you're going to take out of it is...
What are we taking out of all of this?
Well, what you're going to take out of it is that Liberation's very good, but the mail from Ramick is that he'll go to the paddock, be spelled and be gilded. There's the photo.
Run us through this, Mark. You got the big glasses on there?
Yeah. Well, I thought Panzer Division won, so I'm probably not the person to ask. But look, the thing about this is there was a dead heat in Brisbane, and they put it up in 90 seconds yesterday. Are all the states using the same technology? Punters are looking at that, thinking both noses are on the line, and they can't see a difference. So, what are your thoughts on it?
If in an industry where we've got to generate turnover and get punters investing, yesterday's situation was ridiculous. We can't have 5 minutes between a photo being published. Any other state that would have been, the photo would have been up for everyone to see. Then your judge can make a decision. If you've got to look at something 35 times, it's a dead heat. Greg Rudolph and Ray Murray in the
heats, and then a big saga afterwards with plenty of interference. The photo was Scissor Kick just beat Panzer Division. I've seen the print. I've got to be honest. I thought it was a dead heat. I don't think I can still see a margin there.
I'm still getting over the last time they didn't make a dead heat when it cost me money. The name's out of my mind now, but
a bit of money at stake in that dead heat, you know.
Of course there is.
Yeah, if it was declared a dead heat, they're both group winners.
And they're both well-bred.
They're well-bred and they're both similarly owned. So there was money in that dead heat being declared, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, would they have fought the finish out without the interference?
Well, I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Liberation, of course, is the horse that obviously has some issues. I think it's fair to say in the orange colours there. So he's checked Valentia, he's checked Better Land, and who was the horse out wide?
Mercer. He's checked him, and you know what? He's thought,
let's finish him off.
I'll finish this one. He is a lunatic.
So the protest was 4th, 5th, and 6th versus 3rd. 4th and 5th was upheld, 6th was dismissed.
Well, I'll tell you how that works. The stewards start with 6th. If they dismiss that, they go to 5th.
That's right.
If they uphold that, they don't really need to talk about 4th, because unless all the horses protest not only against that horse that caused the interference, but against each other as well, then they can just shift everything up one place, and that's what they did. But
Tim had not at one stage gone for the whip to make that horse react that way. He reacted on his own. So totally.
He was doing it from the first corner, according to Kathy O'Hara.
Yeah. All right, let's have a look at the horses in the yard for the Coolmore Silver Shadow Stakes over 1,200 metres. Group 2 race
at 7. Memorial's been 4 to 4.60, just trickled back into 4.40. Pressure, to $7.50. Market Movers number 2. Excuse me, Juki, go and bring the maid in. Number 2, Bring the Maid is Bring Me the Maid is the Market Mover. Number 2, Bring Me the Maid.
We're off now. In the main, a pretty good dispatch, and Press Report out wide began well with Alpha Miss, who's probably got its head in front in the early stages. Clover Lane going between them into third, about 3/4 away. Then Bring Me the Maid, Nayeli, and Memorial went back to last of the 6 and is about 5 off the leaders. They link onto the course proper. Press Report in front from Alpha Miss and leads by about 3/4 of a length now. Clover Lane is back third. Then Nayeli on the inside, ridden off the speed today. Bring Me the Maid and Memorial's tracking it. Coming up towards the 600, Press Report just getting the head up a little bit. Alpha Miss closing the gap now, gets within about a neck, and Clover Lane on the outside. And then came Nayeli, followed by Bring Me the Maid, and Memorial still back last. Almost a line of 3 up front here. Press Report being tackled by Alpha Miss. Clover Lane next. Bring Me the Maid now starting to make its move, and then Nayeli, and Memorial is still back last, but it's sweating on the other one there. Bring Me the Maid. Coming up to the 200, it's Alpha Miss in front. Memorial sprinting fast with Bring Me the Maid. It's Bring Me the Maid and Memorial. They go together. Bring Me the Maid has got about a neck in front. front now from Memorial. Bring Me the Maid in front. She's pulling away, and Bring Me the Maid won it from Memorial. Clover Lane Alpha Miss Naeli, and Press Report finished a clear last.
Oh, there are a couple of good fillies, but this girl's A grade. That's why Luke Nolan was in Sydney. He was up here to ride Bring Me the Maid. I think he got a fright when Memorial dashed so quickly on the out. Two good runs, probably. You've got Betterland, who's one of the better colts.
Yeah, and, I think he's a super colt, like I said before the last, and I think it was very unfortunate that he got beaten the way he did. And, this filly's a pretty good benchmark, so we'll just weigh it up in the next few weeks. And
A terrific filly she is for Peter Moody, now $6 favourite for the Golden Rose with Alma Lad. Luke Nolan going to Sydney to make sure that she was up and going for the spring, and she is in good style. Memorial pass mark, Clover Lane gets the black type for
Like the slipper, Memorial come from last, got alongside, Bring Me the Maid at the 250, and then she really pounded the line. She was most impressive. I think she's pretty smart. Peter Moody was thinking, do I go the girls' path through the spring? But I think after yesterday, she might go straight into the Golden Rose. You're mad not to have a crack at the Borderly Wines Golden Rose, and Memorial was good a little.
Cheers. It was disappointing, of course, that we didn't have Earthquake going around in that race, and of course Moss Fun didn't run, who both of them finishing in front of Bring Me the Maid in the Golden Slipper. But the man next to us here rode her in a barrier trial recently at Hawkesbury, where she went pretty well.
Yeah, she doesn't carry much weight, but she's an athlete, and we know she loves the wet because she was so good at the end of last preparation in the Golden Slipper. In fact, on a heavy track.
Just superior to these, and this is where you see.
It's scary here when Memorial sprints quickly, and you think, hello, she's in trouble, this favourite.
Nah, but he hadn't gone for it at that stage. Memorial went earlier and collared her, but here's where she asserts her authority. And I don't think I was never in doubt that she was going to beat off Memorial. In fact, she's working away from Memorial there. So, they gone another 200 metres. She'd have been 4 lengths in front of Memorial.
She's pretty good.
The week we've got the Run to the Rose, which will give us a lot more indication. Alma Lad runs next week. Bring Me the Maid would only run in the Golden Rose if the track's firm up. Peter wouldn't want.
Quaddy is the show county quality, and this is going to be a really interesting race with this rain. Can Terra Vista handle the rain that is falling in the really heavy track? It is the short price favourite. Into the mounting yard we go.
First of all, 61, the favourite Terra Vista, 250 to 235 at your marketmover.com.au. Ninth Legion to 8 in Cahoots. $7 into 6. Market
and Racing Bull Point came out a little bit slowly. So did Janoob and our Doo Prince. So Oakfield Command sped through and led from 9th Legion. In Cahoots is up on the outside in 3rd spot. Terra Vista just behind them. And then came Monton midfield on the rail, followed by going through in the centre Bull Point, and on the outside of it Moriarty, who's facing the breeze, followed by our Voodoo Prince and Janoob. As they get to the 800, Oakfield Command's trying to slow them up, led by 3/4 9th Legion in Cahoots. Then Terra Vista about 2.5 off the lead in 4th spot. Monton's on the rail. Bull Point's in between runners from Moriarty, our Voodoo Prince, and at the back of the field is Janoob. Oakfield Command's in front as they prepare to swing. Leads by a half a length on 9th Legion. In Cahoots and Terra Vista not all that far away. Moriarty's made up ground out wide, and Monton sticking to the inside. So Oakfield Command's joined here by 9th Legion. Terra Vista's running on with In Cahoots. They make their runs together, but Terra Vista had the better kick, and it got the better here of In Cahoots. Moriarty's down the outside from 9th Legion. Monton, but Terra Vista broke away. He'll handle the mud all right. He's coming on and records a good win. In Cahoots gets second. Bull Point might get third on the outside from Monton. Then Oakfield Command followed by Moriarty, 9th Legion. And then at the head of the others, Janoob and our Voodoo Prince.
4, 10 and 9, the favourite, the Market Mover. A peach of a ride. Huey Bowman pulled him out. He just paid him in 2 bounds. 4, Terra Vista wins and wins effortlessly. In Cahoots a hold second. And
sure.
Let's hear from the winning trainer.
Third on the outside from Monton.
Well, he's been a great record. You're going to believe what Joe says here. He's got a great wet track pedigree here, 7 out of 10. Glenn, you've ridden this horse before too, and Joe talks him up. Can you give a rap for the horse also?
Yeah, I rode him a couple of preps ago over 1,500. Probably that's not his ideal trip. He was obviously not as strong a horse as he is now, and he's finishing into a really top-class racehorse, and I'm sure he's going to pick out a nice handicap race for him, maybe even the Epsom.
No doubt he's of his potential.
Is he a Group 1 horse in the making?
Yeah. He's got a great acceleration, and he's so relaxed. Pretty sure he's got some really big wins in store, and he's only, while he's while he's not a young horse, he's very likely racing. I think, quite a few seasons left in him. He's all something looking here and hoping all going well that he's around for another 3 seasons.
Anything else? Because he was just brilliant, Terra Vista.
He was. In Cahoots is a good wet tracker who ran, up to his best there. I really like Ball Point. Ball Point.
Our feature, and that is the Pro Ride Warwick Stakes, and only a small field of 7, 5 of the Group 1 winners. It is class with a capital C, and can't wait to see this race. Of course, been affected by the rain-affected track. Let's go into the mounting yard and have a look at the runners for the Pro.
Sacred Falls, 4 into $3.60, 3's out. Tiger Tees, 5 out to $6, now back into $5.50. Hawkspur, 14 to $16, 6 is out. It'll run in the Memsey machine. My Kingdom of 5, $61 into 41. Weary, second favourite. 360 out to 440. It's now 440 back into $4. Criterion, $7 out to $9. 10 Dissidents out. It'll run in the Memsey next week. And the bottom one, Raw Descent, has been 5.55. Market Mover is number 2, Sacred Falls. And the boys upstairs report
Tiger Tees jumped in front on the outside. Royal Descent and Sacred Falls hopped out okay. And then Criterion going back behind them, followed by Hawkspur. Well, Weary's ended up near the back of the field. He didn't jump all that flash, and they're going pretty slowly early. So he's back second last with My Kingdom of 5. Tiger Tees in front, but he hasn't crossed. Sacred Falls is right up there with him, only a neck off the lead, and Royal Descent on the inside as they amble through the first section. Then Criterion, followed by Hawkspur, Weary second to last, and My Kingdom of 5. It's Tiger Tees in front as they work to the side of the track, just crossing a little bit closer now from Royal Descent, and then Sacred Falls running third. Hawkspur and Criterion are another length and a half away. Weary second last, and My Kingdom of 5 are half away on the inside. At the 600-metre mark, and Tiger Tees in front. Royal Descent there might have got a slight check. Sacred Falls is coming up a bit closer on the outside, followed a length away by Hawkspur. Criterion on the back of those, and then came Weary as being hard-ridden, and My Kingdom of 5. Tiger Tees will lead for home from Royal Descent. Sacred Falls, Hawkspur looming up on the outside. Criterion getting a run between horses. Weary looks like he might have a little bit too much to do. Tiger Tees in front from Sacred Falls, Hawkspur, Criterion and Royal Descent stretched across the track. It's Tiger Tees the leader. Sacred Falls is going after it late. Tiger Tees in front from Sacred Falls, Criterion, Royal Descent, but he wins. Tiger Tees. Royal Descent has kicked on into second on the inside, and a photo for third between Criterion, Sacred Falls and then Hawkspur. Weary didn't do much, and last in was My Kingdom of 5.
Race fitness and a horse that just relishes wet grounds, the big plus here today. At number 4, Tiger Tees. Glenn Schofield just rated him in front, just tried to nurse him to the 1400. He wanted to run away from Glenn a little bit.
Very happy man. Here's Joe Pride.
Well done, horses on.
And he's Joe. He'd be a very happy man. Here's Joe Pride.
Well done, Joe. Horses for courses, and this bloke just gives 100%.
Yeah, the 1400 didn't look a problem today, but it's all about the track, and they get on a surface they really like. They can.
He might not be the best horse in the race, but he was the best horse on the day. Tiger Tees was ridden by Glenn Schofield for Joe Pride. Big day for Joe.
Nice and relaxed, get a bit of cover, and so they could relax. So they're going to be better over further. You stayed out in the middle of the track. You didn't want to give them the opportunity to relax and get cover.
Well, that's right. First of all, I knew when Sacred Falls and Royal Descent were vying for the lead, they're in the wrong spot. If I was riding them, I probably would want to be a little bit further back, but the tempo of the race probably suggested that's where they were always going to be anyway. But as you said, I just stayed a little bit wider. I didn't.
Well, also we thought could put pressure on your Weary. He just didn't want to go.
But you must have been giggling in the race, which looked to be...
Tiger Tees, he won the Ori Star at Flemington at his previous start, returned to Sydney to win the Group 2 weight for age race, and he is trained by Joe Pride, who's joining him.
How do you place a horse like him? Like, he's a Group 2 weight for age winner now. He's hard to place into a handicap. You're probably looking at weight for age racing, I suppose, probably on wet tracks.
Really hard. It's really hard, but he has nothing to do. It's just a matter of getting some mixes to suit like he got yesterday, and he's going to be against any field. He needs some mixes instead of that because he's going to run a handicap for a fair while yet.
Stay with him. What was good? Royal Descent looked pretty good for me.
She's in for a big campaign. Not ready yet. Her effort was outstanding. This was like barrier trail speed up front. Schofield dictated, and these stayers had. There was no way in the world they were going to sprint with a horse like Tiger Tees. Look, I'm convinced Criterion's come back as well. They're the two out of the race I'd like to take home. Royal Descent and Criterion, as far as the long spring's concerned. he probably needed to run Sacred Falls. And Weary, well, it was expected he'd be up there on the speed, but he was slow into stride, and he was out of play within 100 metres, and he was probably disappointing.
He's the only one, other than the other horse at the back there, My Kingdom of Five, who I just think's a light of other days. He was the only one I couldn't make a case for that ran well. I thought he was disappointing. I thought all the other stayers all at the tick. If you're training any one of them, you'd say, well, that was fair enough.
It's hard to wrap anything.
Coming up at Belmont, first leg of the quaddie. So it is the case of the Master and the Apprentice here. Smoko is the emerging talent of the West. He's a 5-year-old, but he's had 7 starts. He's won 6 of them. He's only tasted defeat once, and that was when he was beaten into second placing. And Barrackee makes his long-awaited return. 14 starts, he's won 12 of them. And we haven't seen him since the Winterbottom Stakes in November of last year. He won the Prince of Wales Stakes prior to that. He's already
And Pike jumps Smoko out best ahead of Zester, and now Brown is starting to send Barrackee forward, and he rushes up there quickly, but Pike now extends, so Smoko's going to lead the way. And as they go out down the back at the 1100, he holds a break of a length over Barrackee, settles being ridden along 500 metres from home, up nearing the bend in the Goodwood. Pike sitting up against Smoko. Brown's now testing him though with Barrackee, and the Group 1 winner goes up, and now the sparks are flying here as they come into the straight. Barrackee just made the turn a little awkwardly. He comes at Smoko, and Smoko lets down for Pike. 300 metres to go. Smoko in front. Barrackee levels up. It's on equal terms now with him. Barrackee and Smoko. Celebrity Miss Zester running on behind them, but Barrackee's got the better of Smoko with 50 to go. He's going home too well, and a great win by Barrackee first up. Barrackee beats Smoko, Zester third home, followed by Celebrity Miss Settlestrata, and Talent Show was back last all of the way. Never ever underestimate the established star. Barrackee, Jason Brown, and experienced.
That was a good race in Perth yesterday. It was the battle of Barrackee and Smoko. That's how it was built up. Barrackee
and Jim Taylor to get in that position. Well done, Jim, and well done to Barrackee, who goes back for a spell, comes back for the Winterbottom.
Welcome back to Rosehill Gardens for the first of our features today, and that is the Run to the Roses, the MTA New South Wales Run to the Roses for these talented group of 3-year-olds over the 1,200 metres. A Group 3 race, and for many of the 3-year-olds, a last chance to get into the $1 million Golden Rose. Let's get into the mountain.
Into 320, a good go. Number 5, Hello Crown, 5 out to $7. Law, $12 to $17. Number 7, Sarajevo, $6.50 out to $9. And number 12, Egret, $17 into $12. Market mover, number 4, Nostradamus, very, very well backed here. Number 4, Nostradamus, is the mark.
A great dispatch. Egret began fast, and so did Sniper Fire. And Sniper Fire will go to the lead from Egret. Nostradamus is next, and then Almalad on the outside, followed by Laura, settles down midfield. Scratch Me Lucky was next, followed by Kamayon. Hallowed Crown a long way back early, followed by Modoc. And Sarajevo from that wide alley has come across to get one off the fence, but he's still at the back of the field. 800 out, the leader Sniper Fire, steadied leads from Egret, and Nostradamus in the box seat. Almalad's on the outside, a neck away, followed by Lord, just starting to get up on the bridle now, followed by Scratch Me Lucky. Then about 2.5 to 3 lengths to Kamayon, Hallowed Crown, Modoc and Sarajevo last. They're preparing to swing. Sniper Fires a neck in front. Egret's on the outside. Nostradamus trying to push off the fence. He's pushed Almalad out of the way there. Then came Law, followed by down the outside Scratch Me Lucky and Hallowed Crown. As they get to the 300, it's still Sniper Fire in front from Egret. Then Nostradamus, who's trying to wind up, followed by Almalad, and Hallowed Crown is starting to run on strongly. It's Egret in front. Hallowed Crown is coming right down the outside with Kamayon. Hallowed Crown. Crown has won it and remains undefeated and goes on to beat Kamayon and Egret, followed by Modoc, Sarajevo and Law, then Sniper Fire, and then further back Scratch Me Lucky, and 2 in the market. Almalad and Nostradamus have run second, last and last.
Wow, the 2 favourites at the back of the field, but Hallowed Crown came from the back of the field. This colt in the Guree colours by Street Sense. 3 out of 3 now, and he was first up with improvement to come. Wow, he was dynamic. Number 5.
Yeah, that was a very electric turn of foot that he showed, and
He's got a lot of bottom to him, so he's a very bright star. This horse.
He had improved fortnight's time in the Borderley Wines Golden Rose. 1:12.91, 36.02. Hello.
On face value, a very visually impressive victory there to Hello Crown. 3 for 3 street sense out of Terry's Crown Glory. Here comes the winner, beating Kamea and Egret. But Rich.
Well, it's hard to knock him. He's 3 from 3. He's undefeated. I think it's totally dependent as we move forward a fortnight to the Borderley Wines Golden Rose. Do we get a wet track? Do we get a dry track? If the rain hangs around, well, boy, oh boy, he's going to be the horse to beat. Obviously, when the fields...
There doesn't look to be a lot between these horses, does there? That race...
The run to the Rose Hallowed Crown. He won 2 out of 2 in the autumn, including the Kindergarten Stakes, and was back in great fashion yesterday. James Cummings is joining us on...
Ronnie, Almalad was a little easy in the market, and to my eye, I just looked on television, he looked like he was carrying a bit of condition. Is that the way you read it?
Yeah, look, he went into the race first up, but I think still more was expected from him. Like, he was the name on everyone's lips after the winter in Queensland. But how can we assess this race? We're on a heavy 9. You have to be a little forgiving. Nostradamus was awful. Almalad was awful. Kamea was very good first up. He's a horse with upside, believe me.
Yeah, I said that yesterday. I thought he was a horse that looked like he's one of those 3-year-olds that's made the leap.
Yeah.
He's improved since he was 2.
And he looked well. He's got a nice spring look about him. And he's an interesting horse at his next run to see if he can lift.
Interesting play here at the poor old punters today, though, Caitlin. Anyway, we'll move on to the McNeil Stakes. And Novel Dance is your favourite in a wide market here. $5.50, the only filly in the field. This is the McNeil.
Dancer jumped away well. Jabali looked to take a bit of a right-hander. He flew out of the barriers on the outside, and Boomwa got away fast. And Forgive and Forget had begun fast, and Zululand's right out the back with Chivalry settling into stride by the 1,000. Jabali on a deep wide run as the leader with Boomwa, and Cornrow getting right up on the inside to run to the lead. Novel Dancer right behind them as 4th on the inside, followed by Forgive and Forget. 2 lengths to Moon Over Manhattan down on the inside, followed by Nordic Empire, the stablemates together. 2 in front of Tantat Diamond, Stingray, Awesome Rock, Chivalry and Zululand. They're running down to approach the turn. Cornrow the leader by nearly a length to Boomwa, Jabali 3rd, followed by Novel Dancer 4th on the inside, and then Forgive and Forget, Nordic Empire, Moon Over Manhattan, Stingray, Tantat Diamond. Awesome Rock as well back as they corner, and Chivalry pull to the outside, and Zululanders last. Cornrow the leader into the straight. Jabali hung off the turn, and Cornrow led by 2. Novel Dancer running on now. Nordic Empire, and here comes Awesome Rock right down the outside with Chivalry. So they swap the leader now. Nordic Empire got to the front. Awesome Rock and Chivalry fly home together. Chivalry after Nordic Empire and got him. Right on the wire, I'd say. Chivalry grabbing Nordic Empire to win with Awesome Rock 3rd. They're followed by Forgive and Forget, who stayed on well, and then Stingray. Followed by Tantat Diamond, Zulu Line, Moon Over Manhattan, Boomwa, and well back and last to finish, actually, Novel Dancer.
There's your print. Chivalry's got it. Cav and Boss have had a quiet time. Is this the horse that can take them back to the big time? It's an awesome win. Nordic Empire splits the 2 good runs here. Awesome Rock from back, but Chivalry descending on a lovely big colt. He's got a bit of attitude, this bloke. He's got a bit of talent. But I reckon this means something good. It's been a quiet winter, and this might be the horse to get you back into the big time.
Well, one swallow doesn't make a summer, but not a bad horse.
I'll make a spring.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. He's looks to be suitable to that sort of a race and the longer distances.
How good he is today. That was good. And he's obviously got a fair bit to come fitness-wise, and your horse is improving the preps.
Oh, well, you got all the form doctors working for you, mate. You get them to tell me, but I think he's pretty good. He was obviously better.
And home in better sectionals there than Distant in the weight for age race. This 3-year-old fresh up yesterday without the blinkers, and of course it cost $280,000 at Magic Millions. Has got a bright future, no doubt. It's a touch sobering as the recent history of the race to some extent, but see when you get Bossy talking the talk and Cav with a tear in one eye and a glint in the other at the same time, you know that you've got a decent racehorse here.
I think so. Look, it was the 2-year-old that I think everyone thought would develop into the 3-year-old. And he's done that. He just looked a powerhouse in the yard yesterday. He looked fantastic. It's a bonus win, I reckon, yesterday over 1,200 metres for a horse that we all know is going to be better at 14 and a mile. But the problem that Cav needs to work out, and Posse as well, is that corner. He wobbled around it again yesterday at Caulfield. He'd done that in his previous 2 appearances at the track. And that's something that's going to have to be ironed out going forward towards the Guineas. You wouldn't want to be making those mistakes. But
he's the best colt in Victoria.
I've got no doubt about that. He's a very, and you wait till he gets out to a mile and beyond because he's just got a great constitution. He's got a great demeanour about him. To say that he's going to get a mile and where he goes after that, we're not sure. So I'll leave that one to Cav.
It was taken out by Chivalry. He was a handy 2-year-old. He didn't run too badly in the Blue Diamond, but look, he's obviously come on quite a bit for the spring.
Oh, he looks pretty good, doesn't he? He's first up there. He showed a lot of promise as a 2-year-old, and he was always going to make it at 3, as his pedigree suggests. Bossies has hunted him down, which Bossie's a master at finding the good horse coming into the spring, and I think he's found one here, Richard.
Yeah, he's a big, easy loping horse. He looks like a big horse, and you can understand why he probably wasn't at his best at a 2-year-old, just not filled in, not mature enough. I like the way he did it here. The last 100 metres of this, he really rocketed to the line. Yeah, I can see that horse, if he can run the trip, being a Derby prospect this spring. I'm not sure about the mile. He might be, when you're talking about Caulfield Guineas, he mightn't have the zip for that, or tactical speed for that. But tell you what, there's a good race in him.
Yeah. Here's the Caulfield Guineas, Chivalry after yesterday's performance. Almalad, a flop yesterday, Rich Enough, the name on everyone's lips last week. Brazen Bow I wouldn't expect would go to a mile. After missing yesterday, he's in doubt for the goal.
New Zealand Bloodstock Memsey Stakes, a terrific race it is again this year. Tips for me, look, I'm with Boban. I think there's enough speed on paper for him to get over the top of him off a lovely return, off a lovely trial. And
Boban at 3:30 the tote. Messine, who also comes out of the missile stack.
Mover 2 here, go to number 3, a moment of change, 650 into 550. Whichever way you look at the race, from an each-way betting point of view, you'd think you'd be pretty safe, wouldn't you? And with a good sider of the big prize.
Indeed, yeah, that's it's probably the safest way, inverted commas, isn't it? Look, he rolls forward. It's a pretty obvious map to my eye. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, race elevated to Group 1 status 2 years ago. Sincero won that, of course, went on towards a Cox Plate and Atlantic Jewel. Sadly didn't get there. Was Tuesday morning favourite at a very short quote to win it, but things weren't a miss. Now in Folder Galileo to Northern Hemisphere time, but this is as good an edition of the race as you'd possibly find. We're looking for the Wait for 8 stars to step up for the...
And Gig missed it by a length or so. Puissant Staloon jumped away fast. Dissident is up there. Here's Sweet Idea coming over. Moment of change. It jumped well and it's going forward too. But Sweet Idea comfortably led by 2 lengths. Moment of change went to second. Dissident a length away third, wanting to over-race a touch. Messini a length away fourth, and then the grey Puissant Staloon 2 in front of Happy Trails and Boban. Silent Achiever next along the inside, and then Super Cool, followed by Sartorius and Gig. To the railway side, Sweet Idea led by a half. 800 left to go. Moment of change second. 2 in front of Dissident. A length and a half, Puissant Staloon and Nick Messini. Then 2 lengths further back, Happy Trails in the centre. Silent Achiever, the rail, and Boban out 3 wide. 2 behind these, then is Super Cool, a good way back on the inside with 600 to go, and then Sartorius and Gig. So Sweet Idea by a neck. Moment of change second, 2.5 lengths away, Dissident, followed then by Messini outside Puissant Staloon, and then Boban and Happy Trails. And next is Silent Achiever. Into the straight, though, Moment of Change raced up the Sweet Idea, who's under the whip. Dissident turns third, starting to finish, and then Puissant Staloon and Boban coming down the outside, and then Silent Achiever. 150 to go, Dissident and the Sweet Idea together from Puissant Staloon. But it's Dissident who takes the lead clearly. Starts to race away. Dissident bolted in by 2 lengths. Sweet Idea second, Puissant Staloon ahead away third. Then Silent Achiever. Boban and Sartorius got home, followed by Gig, Happy Trails. Behind those, Messini, Super Cool. And back at the end of the field is Moment of Change, dropped right out of it.
Well, he's both ends of the scale here for Peter Moody. Dissident wins $15 into 12 late, set up by brilliant, well, they landed in the right place to chase down Sweet Idea and Moment of Change. And Dissident gets the big Group 1. Peter Moody back to Melbourne. Pinch hitter here for the stable, Benny Mallam. Of course, he filled in on Black Caviar, and he gets one here on this cracking colt. Dissident pick from Sammy from the yard. It's a Group 1 for him in Melbourne. Where might he end up? Could he be one to fill on Thursday? There, obviously, you're right there. You prove what a good colt he is.
Yeah, he's trained on terrific since his 3-year-old year, Bruce. He's really furnished nicely. He had a terrific winter in Queensland. Mustafa done a tremendous job. Vanessa Bartlett had him up there, and then Claire Cunningham's had him in Sydney until last week, and they've done a tremendous job. And he's a high-class colt, conditions to suit, and it's just terrific to see them bounce back like that. And the world's his oyster. just great to see him. That was a top-class field, and he put them to the sword and really got the job done.
Group 1 winner at Bruce. One at the floor also with Kings Roads a few seasons back. But by doing Gator, I need a bit of hip and shoulder down here. There's a massive scrub down here.
With numbers everywhere. Well done to the winning connections. They saw some vision there. Super excited and good luck to them going forward. 12-9.
Sure, he's not only is a good trainer, Pete, he's very loyal, and a lot of thanks has got to go to him because he's been a good supporter of mine the whole way through. And it was good to sort of Black Gabby was, it's hard to repay the favour, but it's good to be back here today riding Group 1 winners for him.
He was great today, this horse, wasn't he?
He was. They ran along at a decent clip, but it sort of suits his style. He's not a horse you can start on, and big sort of sluggish baby. You got to keep him rolling, and that's what we did.
Idea second, Croissant Stallone ahead away third.
Well, the Group 1 winner in Sydney is a 3-year-old now. Group 1 older winner in Melbourne, perhaps filling the void for the Wait for Age stars. This is a disappointed Moody on Tuesday in track work. Comes out and fills a Group 1 victory on Saturday. Of course, it was a bittersweet day for Pete there with a moment of change, inexplicably running so poorly. Ben Melham, though, rode the winner. Jargo, for me, Puissance and Silent Trevor get the big ticks.
Yeah, they're the obvious standouts, Bruce. Some other news with the also runs, I guess, Sweet Idea going towards the Let's Elope now, and a probable clash with Commanding Jewel, who we'll get to later on. And then the Rupert Clark, and maybe that's her chance to grab a Group 1 win back to a handicap condition. Satori
Stakes Dissident. He was a Group 1 winner in the autumn. He won the Randwick Guineas. They wintered him in Queensland, and he's come back looking great. And he's trained by Peter Moody, who's joined.
Well, the beaten brigade in the race, look, what can you say? The winner just dominated, didn't he? He's a horse that I love his tactical speed. I like the way he revved him up and then he come back underneath him. I think he's a very interesting horse. But look, of the beaten brigade, Richard, look, she was gal in the game. Sweet Idea, we know she's got a brave heart. It looks like these two horses may be back on track. Puissance Stallone, he was pretty good, and I thought it was a good return from Silent Achiever as well.
Yeah, I thought all the stayers went okay. Sweet Idea, she had to do some work up the hill out of the 1400-metre gate, cross them, stack them up again. I thought she was brave. She did well. There's plenty of good mares races in her this spring. Puissance Stallone went much better. Boban
was given no hope.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at.
He sees daylight, that horse. All he wants to do is charge.
Well, he did want to pull. His bad manners came out yesterday, but he just seemed, after he turned, he just plugged. In mine, he was making a little ground on the line.
He's 3 deep, no cover, pulling his head off. What do you want him to do? Charge over top of him?
I thought he could have finished off a little better than he did. That's all. I just don't know where he's at. I'm not bagging him. I just don't know where he's at.
And of course, Peggy Jean holds up my top 3.
All right, the pick of the yard is the class in the race, and the Group 1 winner, that is Earthquake. Talking about Group 1 winner.
Yeah, been very well back now, hasn't it? $2.25 it got out to, now back into $2. Good go, the favourite Earthquake. Peggy Jean, $6.50 to $7.50. Memorial was $8 into $6.50, $8.50 into $6.50. It's just back to $7.50, but it's firmed a full point. Alpha Myth's the rank outsider at $26. Winks, $8 into $7. And number 6, Sultry Feeling, $6.50 into $5.
Sultry Feeling pair off in front in the early stages. Alpha Miss behind them. Winks up on the outside in 4th position. And then about 2 lengths to Peggy Jean and Memorial last of all. It's Earthquake with a narrow lead. They seem to amble through the first section of the race. Leads by about a neck. Sultry Feeling on the outside is second. And then Winks and Alpha Miss, they're sharing third. Peggy Jean is next to last. And Memorial going up on the inside at the rear. At the halfway mark, 600 to go. Earthquake's in front. Sultry Feeling on the outside, close at hand. They've dominated the race in front here. They haven't gone all that quick. Now, Peggy Jean's making a move on the outside, 4 wide. Winks is going at the same time. Then Alpha Miss, followed by Memorial, still at the back of the field. Earthquake in front. McAvoy starting to shake her along now. As Sultry Feeling ranged up on the outside. Winks made a line of 3. Then Peggy Jean, followed by Alpha Miss. It's Winks on the outside, taking the lead from Earthquake, who's under immense pressure, and Winks straight away with 100 metres to go. She'll remain undefeated. Winks a great prospect, and she comes down to win it. Earthquake and Alpha Miss fight out second and third, followed by, in behind them next, Sultry Feeling, and then Peggy Jean and Memorial State at the back all the way.
Oh, don't worry about the end of the spring, her winning the most races. She started with a bang. She had plenty of improvement to come today. She was soft. She's quality. 3 out of 3. The Magic Bloodstock, Peter Ty, and his partners in this galloper. They've got a smart filly, this girl. She toyed with them. She races away.
You can't really take anything away from this winner. No excuses for...
But Wow. 1:11.99, 35.38, Richo. She's top draw, this girl.
6:30, 290, 490.
Down to win it's Earthquake and Alpha Miss. Fight out second and third.
Yeah, Mark got it right there. Street Cry. Apparently it's not coming back to start this season, Shark.
That's right, Bruce.
Thank you. Winks, as you said, Mark, great prospect.
Look, I think the thing about her is that in her two previous wins, she's lacked a lot of dash in the early part of the straight. She's taken a long time to wind up. But yesterday, she ran up to these better class horses and was there at the top of the rise fighting it out with them. So she's made a great improvement from last time in. And when the races get longer, Richard, she's going to be even better.
Look, I made a statement yesterday prior to the race in the parade ring that I think by the end of the Spring Carnival, she would have won more than all the others in the race, and she's going to be a star. I just thought she was probably a little bit soft yesterday going into it, but she was outstanding. That last little bit was the best part. You got to feel for Jason Collett, Bruce. Originally, they were going to go to the Ming Dynasty. They switched, went to the Furious. Jason was ready on Alpha Miss. Hugh Bowden picks up the ride. Bang.
Was really dominant.
Wow, this is an outstanding talent. She's 3 for 3 now. The manner in which she goes about her work, she travels, relaxes, and strong. And she's got a stout pedigree. And look, she's got the flight stakes at her mercy. I'd suggest, she might have just something special about her.
It's very hard though to have your first start back from what has been a pretty long spell, a pretty cold winter by all accounts, lead in a 1,200 metre race on a heavy track and hold off horses that have got that residual fitness. I just think it's a hard
Earthquake.
I'm talking about Earthquake. It's just a hard task, and I don't think she failed. She was still trying to lift on the line.
Heights is our favourite here. Let's move our way into the mounting yard and have a look at the runners. And we start with
And last is Washington Heights, the favourite about 8 lengths off the leader, which at the 800 is Panda Division, who leads by a neck. Valenti is on the outside, and then a length and a half shooting to win. Bold Circle fourth on the outside. Tracking it, Lady Sharapova. Then Road to Shangri-La, Tashby, Clover Lane. And Washington Heights is still last as they're coming up to the 500 metre mark, where it's Panda Division and Valentia. Not a lot separating them as they turn, followed by Shooting to Win, peeling out wide from Bold Circle, Road to Shangri-La. And then Clover Lane, Lady Sharapova. He's stuck to the fence on Washington Heights, trying to save ground through that patch of ground. But these leaders are well clear at the moment. On the inside here, kicking back Panzer Division from Valentia. Panzer Division got about a length and a half in front from Valentia. Shooting to Win is starting to run on, but Panzer Division is well clear over the dying stages, and Panzer Division wins it. Goes down to beat in second, Shooting to Win, followed by Lady Sharapova, then Bold Circle, followed by Valentia, who got tired. Washington
36.75.
We're talking about
Falls, but also your winner yesterday, a really nice colt by the name of Panzer Division, took out the Ming Dynasty Stakes there yesterday. How was he? How did he handle that track? Was he, even though he won the race, was he comfortable out there?
No, I wouldn't say he was. He dipped and dived the whole way. He sort of got, once I let him off the bridle as well, he was like when he won at Kembla, first start, he led and he really has a look. And as you can see, he wanted to drift right out up the straight and he dipped and dived the whole way. So, there's a lot of improvement with this horse on a good going.
Just right at the 200 metre mark there, he dipped quite badly there. Wonder he didn't get thrown off balance. But I watched him win his maiden, which was a very good maiden. A lot of horses came out behind him and won.
Feature of the day, the Chelmsford Stakes. Over 1,600 metres, Chris Waller trains 6 out of the 8 runners, Group 1 winners, left, right and centre. It's going to be a terrific race. Let's get into the mounting yard where we start with
the Hawkesbury's got the opportunity to roll forward. He has led and been competitive previously, so I wouldn't be surprised he was more forward, as Liam said.
Siegfried Racing, Janoob hesitated, missed it about a half a length. Hawkesbury was given a dig in the ribs out of the stalls, and he's got his head in front in the first 100 metres. Royal Descent on the inside and Entirely Platinum sitting on the outside. Sacred Falls about a half a length off the lead, easing, and Hawkesbury is the leader. Entirely Platinum followed it across, it's a half away second. Royal Descent next, and then came Sacred Falls, followed further back by Moriarty and Criterion, Janoob and Bagman. So they run up now with about 700 to go. And the leader is Hawkspur from Entirely Platinum. Sacred Falls getting flushed out now as Criterion comes up on the outside of it. Roll Descenters down near the inside. Bagman railing up inside of it. Followed by Moriarty. And about 3 to Janubu's under the whip. The leader as they turn is Hawkspur. He's out about 3 off the rail. Entirely Platinum's hard ridden. Sacred Falls is running on. Royal Descent getting an inside run. Moriarty threading through in the centre. It's Royal Descent coming at Hawkspur. Sacred Falls still a length and a half away, and then Moriarty. Royal Descent has run through now to join Hawkspur, and there's nothing between these. It's Royal Descent, and on the outside of it, Hawkspur from Sacred Falls and Moriarty. Hawkspur's fighting back. Royal Descent, nothing in it. Royal Descent or Hawkspur, take your pick. And then there's a photo for third. Bagman's come through there with Sacred Falls and Moriarty. Then came Janube, Criterion, and Entirely Platinum's dropped away to finish last of all.
All I can tell you is Chris Waller's got the winner. This is close. Hawkspur 3, Hawkspur 9, Royal Descent. Very, very close. On the inside, Royal Descent. Hawkspur on the outside, who was a great ride. Jimmy took the opportunity with no speed. I thought Royal Descent to go home the better. Hawkspur lunges right on the line. Oh, I thought the inside, but maybe the outside. And very version winner. Number 3 is the winner, Jim Cassidy for Chris Waller. 3, Hawkspur. Beats number 9, Royal Descent. Bagman will run third in front of Sacred Falls, then Moriarty, then Janube. There's the photo. The outside gets it.
Hawkspur goes back-to-back like Lonhro did in the early 2000s and like Stargazer did in the early...
Chris, but 1 through to second. 139.32, 36.44. A nose, a length and a quarter. A nose, a length and a...
Plan A is not to lead, but I want...
Well, back-to-back in the race for Hawkspur. Different tactics on a few of them yesterday, Rich, but Jim Cassidy. I suppose as much as the results there on your screen from yesterday, it's where these are going and what they might get to that's more important right now.
Yeah, 100%, Bruce. Look, there was just absolutely no speed, and a couple of trainers said to me, who do you think will lead? And I said, well, there's no speed in the race whatsoever. And if you tell Jim Cassidy that, well, that's just red rag to a bull. And he said, well, if there's no speed, he said, I may as well be there. I can't be back last. I thought there was some great runs. Obviously, Hawkspur was super. Royal Descent, she's on target, still heading towards a Cox Plate. I thought Moriarty was outstanding on the bit. Once he got off the bit, he just couldn't. His wheels went around. Bagman
out the Chelmsford, he went back to back. Jim Cassidy for Chris Waller. Chris with the first 6 across the line. So, Ron, that was complete domination by the Chris Waller stable there yesterday in the Chelmsford.
Well, we've come to expect it, haven't we? You know,
6 of the 8 runners.
It's a marvellous story when you think of it. And the 2 horses behind him were in the market. Look, Hawkspur, it was a classic case of this bloke, Jim Cassidy, fair dinkum, he's only been back 2 meetings and he makes a decision here, and it was a winning decision. He knew he was on a horse that had a better grounding than most of these horses. Most of these horses that had 1 run back leading into this race. He said, my horse has had 2 runs back. He's tougher, he's harder, he's fitter, and it was a winning move. Royal Descent was very good again. She's getting to the stage where I think she needs a kill. Like, it's 2 preparations. She's yet to put her nose in front.
The Oaks was her last win. Remember, she won that Oaks by 10 lengths. That was 18 months ago.
I was the same as you, Ron. I was wondering, where is she at? She hasn't won in a while, but you know, it's only a bob of the heads there, and she would have won that race. You know, it was just bad luck for you.
The thing with her
versus third. Let's have a quick look at the market, and I'll bring Richard Callender into the coverage. Of course, Tiger Tease and Weary are the dominant players here in the Tramway Stakes. Into the mounting yard we go, Rich.
Racing. And Tiger Tease broke very quickly, takes the early lead. Fade on the outside, being ridden aggressively to go up and try and match it with Tiger Tease. Then Hook settling down third, followed by Honorius and Monton. Gypsy Diamond's got to posse up a bit closer today. She's around midfield. And further back behind them, Dan Chai. Weary's about midfield, settling down as well. And then came Toy Dini out wide from Lucia Valentina. Villanova line of 4. Dan Chai, Weary, Gypsy Diamond and Toy Dini, followed by Lucia Valentina, Villanova and Rising Romance. Gypsy Diamond seemed to get a check there and she lost about a length. So Tiger Tease just in front. Lead from Fade on. Hooked has pulled its way up on the outside to almost join them. Monton down closer to the rail in 4th spot. And then further back we had Dan Chai, followed by Honorius. Weary's in the centre. And Toy Dini. Tiger Tease has got a kick in him and he kicked away now. Leads by a length and a half on Monton. Then Hooked and further back Fade on. Tiger Tease in front. Monton a half a length away on the inside. Lucia Valentina is rocketing Heading home, Lucia Valentina has come over the top of them and wins it from Tiger Tees. It's a photo for third. Toy Dini and Rising Romance from Villanova. Then Monton Gypsy Diamond, followed by Hooked and Danchai. Then Phaedon Honorius. Weary has run a shocker. It's run last.
She's a serious horse, this girl, by Savabeel. Number 10, Lucia Valentina. She won the Storm Queen in the autumn, unlucky in the Oaks when coming from the back. But wow, she resumed in great fashion, just as will Hale.
It's a photo for third.
Gotta love that, Mark, the way stormed through the line there. No, wet ground, but wet and dry shouldn't be any issue for Lucia Valentina. She likes the wet, obviously, but that's a terrific return.
Well, she was very good in the wet in the Storm Queen, and then didn't have a great deal of luck in the ATC Oaks, where she got shuffled back and pushed wide on the home turn. So I suppose when you look at her form, Richard, you'd say she is a little bit better on the heavy, but we have seen her race okay on the dry as well. But that was an outstanding
Well,
win.
mate, you only got to look at every. No horse come from well
No
back.
one made ground.
No one made ground all day. You would have laid London Brick on Tiger Tees at the furlong. It looked home. I think Chris Lee's had a smile when it went past Rising Romance, who of course beat it in the Oaks, but. That was an outstanding win. She's back in great order, and but the bookmakers, Mark, they're reactive, obviously, but gee, she's now short odds for a Caulfield Cup.
Yeah, well, and
He's now with tab.com.au. I had a look this morning. The second favourite for the Caulfield Cup.
Wow.
Behind the offer.
Yeah, look, I can understand in the heat of the moment, everyone, this. What can you say about this? All you can say is wow. It was just a.
It was a good field, this. The other horses in the Chris Waller Stakes were probably, better horses, but this race had the depth. And there were plenty of live chances in this race. And look at her rocket home on a heavy track here. Now, Ty's just left us. Now, he rode in the race, and he said he's never seen one get home like that on a heavy track, just jump out of the ground like that. So it was an enormous return to the track.
One thing I will say about her, don't look at her. She's not little, she's narrow, she's weak.
Motor.
She's obviously just got a big motor. I think Rising Romance is a big improver there. I thought her run was excellent. She's got scope to improve, and I think she's come up really well. So
Tiger Tees lost no admirers. He did what he did.
Him. And Toy Dini was great that was a great sort of Epsom trial from him because
he is the highest rated horse currently racing in Australia, which makes him the best horse in the country and the best sprinter in the world right now. And he kicks off his spring under glorious skies and plenty of crowd interaction here to see Lankan Rupee. $1.30 bet here on course into $1.28 now. What do you do in this? Do you just back the champ? Is it a punting proposition? Is it a look on and cheer on? Is it wait for the half price scoop? It's been great. Mick Price Racing taking him to the track work, making him available. And, we know his ability, so it's not.
Racing, Lankan Rupee away, flying on the outside. Eloping jumps okay. She has to hurry through. Lankan Rupee's coming over to find the lead ahead of her. She hustles up and holds the inside, and Daruhu was third. A length Angelic Light, 2 lengths it is written down to Quasi Corthan, 2 Academy Jack, Unpretentious. So it goes to script now with Eloping leading by about a neck, running second the outside, Lankan Rupee. They're 3.5 on Angelic Light ahead of Ruhu, and about 4 lengths it is written Corthan, and the Quasi, and they're followed Unpretentious and Academy Jack. So Eloping with the weight advantage on Lankan Rupee, who's ahead away. 2 lengths away, Angelic Light running on, and the Ruhu feels the pinch as they corner, where it's Eloping leading narrowly. Lankan Rupee about to be pinged, and a length away, Angelic Light is poised to run on too. Lankan Rupee claims the lead. Angelic Light's going to be a threat here. Angelic Light race to Lankan Rupee. He's got a kick, but Angelic Light and Lankan Rupee. Angelic Light causes the upset 1.5 head to Lankan Rupee, 3 lengths away in third placing. I think Eloping might have just held it as written, and then Corthan, Unpretentious, Ruhu weakened out, and then now the Quasi, and Academy Jack is last.
An absolute boil over here, an absolute boil over in the McEwen Stakes with Angelic Light upstaging the best sprinter in the world. Well, he was until just then. No excuse, Lankan Rupee. They run 57.54 here. The close record, of course, is Miss Andretti's at 57.22. Had the sweet run behind, and your shout.
Thanks, Bruce.
On you, Rob. Well done. Robbie Griffiths and Ryan Malone.
No excuses. Well done to Robbie Griffiths and his team. Had 64 weeks off, tendon issues. Second up and nails fair and square for mine. Not throwing up any. We'll get to Craig Ewart shortly, but absolutely fair and square there, Shane.
Yeah, fair and square. The most disappointing thing to come out of the race was that there were so many narcs wanting to tell you how bad Lankan Rupee is. Can we just give it a rest? You know, this is a seriously good sprinter. I don't know if you're still suffering from the black caviar hangover, some of the people out there. Do you want to know how well he's gone? He's eyeballed a leader as they've ripped along and nearly run track record time, beaten a short half head. The horse that he eyeballed, Eloping's come home the last 200 in 12.26. He's come home in 11.93, so he's quickened off already fast tempo. A Jelly Light is a great mare. She's already Group 1 place, ripping first up run off a 64-week break. All honours with Robbie Griffiths here, as you rightly put.
Case for us. Look, you got to give a little cuddle before you give a bagging. We know Froggy's a great rider. We know he's a good bloke. That ride wasn't Froggy at his best. That was an awful ride. He chased him out of the gates. He chased the leader along at humming speed. He was first up from a break. He still should have won at $1.22, but geez, I think on reflection, I think Froggy would have had a look at that and said, geez, it wasn't A grade. That wasn't good enough for a top jockey like Froggy on Lincoln Rupee.
Well, let's hear from him, Rich.
Devastating you got beat, Bruce, but 1,000 he just raced a little bit fresh. I was trying to come back off a filly, and Clinton was trying to sort of hold it up a little bit as well. And look, the winners had the run under the belt and sat right out on our back and nabbed us the last couple of strides. But my bloke's had a really good blow. I know he's going to improve, and he'll come back here in 3 weeks.
Run as a yardstick to make a decision on running her in the Group 1 in 3 weeks' time at Moonee Valley in the Moya. So we were very happy and celebrated hard.
Robbie, you got a mare here.
I was very excited in the first 300-400 metres when the race panned out a lot quicker than I expected. So at that point, I thought, geez, we're a real chance of running second here. And when she loomed up at the top of the straight, I was naturally very confident of running second then. But when the 100 metres from home, when Lankan Rupee started to not kick like I know he can, and I know my mare's Desire, and she's fit, she's had that one run back, then I was really confident about her. So it was very good.
Robbie, just with the first up run going into this, she had that run, Lankan Rupee, that probably the first 200 metres that maybe Craig knew it did push it a little bit, in the early stages of the race, sitting so close to the leader.
I think he overcooked him out of the barrier himself. He should have just, in retrospect. Look, I thought his run was excellent considering the circumstances. We keep wanting to compare these good sprinters with Black Caviar. Don't even think about it. She stands alone and always will. He's a top class horse, Lankan Rupee, and I thought he did enough yesterday to still hold a little bit of dominance.
I would be satisfied with the run. I even looked at him on TV. I was on TV yesterday. I looked at him in the mounting yard on TV and said,
had that horse's measure and was working well within himself. That's it.
Okay, market mover is the cleaner. The cleaner 480 into 440. He's been right at the top of the market all the way through. He's rejected the challenge with the punters with Star Rolling here, who's back out to $5. Pacal's firm late, 8 into $7. Foreteller, the pattern read here, 550 back to 7. And the offer, pick of the yard for Sam, has been 13 into 11. So many stories.
And they're right now for the chin now. Racing. And the cleaner jumps well. So too Star Rolling. Foreteller a bit slow from outside. And Pacal goes back in the early part. And Crackerjack King just off the speed. And so is Foundry. Gricaro's wider at. Mourinho's very wide. It's the cleaner at a controlled gallop in the early part as he runs to the 1200. He's a length in front of Star Rolling. Gricaro deeper out and Crackerjack King right on the speed. Fourth on the fence. Followed by Foundry, Mourinho out wider, a length away, his stablemate Havastan with Mourinho on his outside, and they're 2 lengths from Havastan and then Ladari. 2.5 away then is the offer being followed by Picard, and a length and a half last is Fortella. So the cleaner for Steve Ardle comes up the side. He leads by 2 lengths to Star Rolling, Crackerjack King. A length away, Gricaro to Mourinho. Foundry ridden along, and then came Ladari starting to make ground, and the offer took off. Back behind them then is Havastan beaten off, and Picard a long way back, and Fortella was last. So the cleaner, here's his moment for the big time. He's a length in front of Star Rolling, Crackerjack King, and then Gricaro and Mourinho. And next was Ladari, but the cleaner still in front. Coming around the home turn now from Star Rolling, Crackerjack King, and Mourinho running on. The cleaner by a length and a half. You know he'll give everything. Star Rolling, Mourinho's coming. The cleaner's hanging on though. Mourinho driving at him, but the cleaner won it. The cleaner by a length, Mourinho. Fortella was the eye catcher getting home to grab third, I'd say, from either Ladari or back on the inside was Star Rolling. They were followed further back by Pakal, Gricaro, the offer. Crackerjack King just wilted the last 100 metres or so, and Avastad and Foundry at the end.
Well, it's a hugely popular win for the punters, but for most of all the fans of racing who come and adore this horse because of these great Vogue-like tactics, rolling along in front. Not that hard early, though. Clever by Arnold, just ground the speed up, 48.09 first 800, and then winds it up, as Mick Bell's told us, from the 800 home. And they're all chasing and chasing, Mourinho, Fortella and Kay. But let's just talk about the winner, Shark, and but especially here today. And now you're in a Cox Plate.
Oh, he's a bloody champion, isn't he?
He sure is. It's an amazing horse. And just on today, though, first, I mean, that was the best of him today, wasn't it?
Oh, well, it was a test. Test to see whether he can measure up to the others. Well, I think he did.
He did, and you get a free ticket from the Cox Plate. Gee, you've got to come back and take it on, don't you?
Oh, I'm going to. That's all I was aiming for.
An amazing story with you and your golfing mates who have enjoyed the ride, and I suppose there's been a few bumpy roads, but this is what makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, it does. I mean, we've had our ups and downs, but I'm happy with what he's done.
Shows your ability, though, as
I think plenty of punters will be happy to see.
Yeah, what a great horse he is. Well done to all involved, and beautiful ride by Stephen Arnold. Just came out and just let him find his feet, sort of
soaked it up a bit.
Yeah, for sure. He sort of really captures the imagination of the racing people and probably the public a bit as well. He just is with his tough, front running style.
And a free ticket into the Cox Plate at the Caulfield Cup. The Cox Plate will be the goal after the clinic got that free ride in yesterday. And riding the horse and keeps going. We obviously have seen him a lot, but to get on his back, is he a different sort of horse to ride? Look, it looks as though he takes plenty of riding. You've got that pretty quiet style where Callo's arms, legs and kitchen sinks. You're different, but what sort of feel does the horse give you?
I was actually surprised. He's actually he was nice to ride in the race. He's pretty strong going to the stalls, but in the race he actually went along.
Brigade, Bruce, that are going forward. Fortella, you'd think the Underwood Turnbull probably the path to take there. Justine Hale suggesting that might be the way that horse.
Let's chat about the Darto, the Group 2 at Weight for Age. The cleaner, he's now had 5 runs at Moonee Valley for 3 wins and 2 placings. He loves it, and he's trained in Tasmania by Mick Burles, who's back in Tasmania.
Hot water and houses on him and it busted. So, oh, fucking.
Nick, Richard Friedman here. The public, they absolutely love this horse and they want to know the story about a bit about you and a bit about the horse, where he came from, how he got his name, those sort of things. Can you just quickly...
And I got his deep spring grant. And then his name, well, that's a bit strange, but the bloke that's one of the owners that's sitting now got a house which got a stairway. He was sitting at the table trying to sort out some names for the horse. And the young cleaner was there, and she's about 22, I suppose, good looking. She's halfway up the stairs, and he looked up and he said, "Oh my God, the cleaner." And that's what he wrote down, that's what we got. No, that's your imagination.
Okay.
Are we still on air? No, great story, Mick. How you
to the spring carnival, someone that doesn't fit the normal mould.
You just can't beat that sort of character, can you? That's the character we've been looking for. We've been dealing with it, the Chris Wallers and the Gay Waterhouse, and they're all big characters. But when you get a Mick Burles with a star, when we've had a Joe Janiak or that you can go through the list of them. It's just fantastic.
Just back on his horse. I'm not saying he could win a Cox Plate, but I'll tell you what, he's going to make the Cox Plate because there'll be a brave person out there, the first one chasing him, I'll tell you, because it'll take a sting out of him.
I watched this race at the 600 or 700 metre mark, might have been even further out. Steve Arnold starts to push the horse along, like really pushed him to his top 700 metres out. Now, I thought, you're not going that well. And then I looked behind him, and they're all off the bit, and they're all struggling.
He's a very popular horse. I thought the offer was fantastic first up there. He made a terrific first up run from the Melbourne Cup favourite. Fortella was good as well, but I thought outside the winner that the offer got a...
Today, and it is the time-honoured Theo Marks, and it's a battle in the market between Cluster and also Bullpoint. And don't forget the Oaks filly in Kiramosa having her second start this preparation. As into the mounting yard we go.
The 280 in New South Wales, Bull Point at 380, so he's the same price. Laser Hawk a little bit slowly out. Jet Set Lad landed in front for a stride, but now Tougher Than Ever and Ninth Legion have run through to head it. So Tougher Than Ever led from Ninth Legion. Jet Set Lad a little bit deep now, followed by in behind them Laser Hawk, who after missing the start, starting to circle. And then came Zephyron Kiramosa. Clusters ended up a fair way back and Bull Point's behind him. Sisters awkwardly placed on the rail and Bull Point's on the outside, keeping him in there. It's Tougher Than Ever clear with about 700 to go. Leads by a length and a half on Laser Hawk and Ninth Legion. Jet Set Lad's never been on the track. Zephyron in the middle, followed by Kiramosa. And then Bull Point starting to edge up, and Cluster's been left at the back on his own now as they turn for home. Into the straight, little over 400 to run. Tougher Than Ever led. Ninth Legion cracking it into the straight. Then further back, we've got Bull Point starting to run on down the outside. He's making up ground. And Zephyron's down there at the inside. It's Tougher Than Ever and Ninth Legion fighting it out. Ninth Legion has now gone to the lead. Cluster is starting to wind up. He's putting in the big ones now. Cluster, he ranges up with Bull Point. They go together. Cluster on the outside is doing the better. Cluster goes on to beat Bull Point and Ninth Legion. Then Jet Set Lad, Kiramosa, Zephyron, followed by Tougher Than Ever. And Laser Hawk, after doing some early work, got tired and finished a clear last.
These two horses are going to play plenty of a big role over the Spring Carnival, but number 8, Cluster, nothing went right. He got pushed back in behind him, Timmy Clark, but he's a good horse, this fella, by Fastnet Rock. Number 8, Cluster, 5.
A good race. Cluster comes to the Rupert Clark now, Rich, and Bull Point, possibly the same path, but a good result here for Peter and Paul.
No doubt.
Off Ninth Legion, it wasn't until Cluster chimed in that he seemed to get his mind on the job, Bull Point, so I don't know if he's totally focusing, but Cluster's jumped from a benchmark 85, which he did look unlucky last start, but nothing really went his way there today, apart from the fact that he got into the best part of the track late, and it was an outstanding win.
I really like these two colts, first and second, Cluster and Bull Point. Cluster, although his runs have been spaced, I think this was his 4th up run. This was only Bull Point's 2nd up run. I'd love to see both of them, progress towards the Rupert Clark, because they're going to be very, very competitive.
It was another case there. Bull Point did drag Cluster into the race, so Cluster got the last shot at him. I think Bull Point was just beaten by a better horse on the day. Whether he's a better horse career-wise, well, that remains to be seen. I think both horses are going very well, and I think they're a cut above the rest of them in this race.
This is going to put a space on him here, and Bull Point gets an eye of him.
It goes with him.
I like the way he rallied with him.
Yeah.
And I still think there's further scope for improvement with Bull Point. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about them.
Is the Bonnie mare Catkins, and she's in the red. She's first up from a spell, but she's expected to win the Shirako, according to the punters, $1.75. In fact, Shamalia, the only runner, inside double figures here for race number 6.
Maroon Bay jumped fast on the outside with Echo Gal. They were the best into stride. The favourite Catkins jumped well. It'll settle down about 3rd early, followed by May Soon, and then Stolen Kisses for a long way back, and Nina Rocks behind it. The leader is Maroon Bay. Leads by a length on Echo Gal. Catkins getting a nice trail, followed by Snippety B. Stolen Kisses is right off the track, and then Runway Star. Miss Promiscuity over on the rail from May Soon, Estonian Princess, and then Belle de Coeur. And Shamalia has been pushed pretty wide as they turn for home, where it's Maroon Bay still nursed by the rider a length in front from Echo Gal. Now Catkins being called on, and she's starting to stalk the leaders. Mason's coming down the outside, followed by Belle de Coeur, but Catkins shot to the front with about 150 to go. She's nicely clear. She's going like a winner, and Catkins too much class for the opposition here. My Sabille ran through into 2nd. Nina Rocks come from last to get up for 3rd, and then Maysoon, Estonian Princess. Miss Promiscuity next from Belle de Coeur, Niobe, Maroon Bay. Covered ground, but she's run tailed off.
You feel guilty collecting, don't you? You feel guilty. That was as easy as you like. I would have won. Huey Bowman. She went
from last to get up for
right race and well handled as usual. Hugh Bowman for Chris Waller. Easy win. Catkins. Some stories in the race.
1400. She's nearly unbeatable second up, but then as she gets into the prep and gets the Group 1s over 1500 and 1600 metres, she just hasn't been as strong in the past, but she's much more relaxed mare now with maturity, and I'm hoping this preparation is her preparation to go to the top level, because she's certainly got Group 1 class.
We know she's
stallion making race, and this year's edition is no different. A massive field and real quality gallopers. It is $3.80 the field, and it is the filly Bring Me the Maid, trying to be just the second filly to win the Golden Rose. Into the mounting out. Already a Group 1 winner. He won the JJ Atkins, and that is Almalad.
Oh, well, you don't win a Group 1 at your third start if you're no good.
Here for us to a big price, really. I mean, firstly, Almalad, $12 top fluck into 11, but Hallowed Crown, $7 top fluck, no longer available.
Yeah, we're going over to the board here. Hallowed Crown got out to $7, now $6.50. Kamayan, $16, rock solid. Physicix, 14 into 13. Number 6, Nostradamus, 9 out to $9.50, 50 into 5. Bring Me the Maid, 4 into $3.50. Both the just Jason.
Red light. They're set and they're off and racing now. Shooting to Win missed the start. And Kamayon down near the inside didn't jump all that flash. Egret began well and leads from Sniper Fire. Nostradamus away well and settles down third, followed by Almalad. And then Better Land going up out a little bit wide, followed by Press Report, Scratch Me Lucky. Bring Me the Maid gets back to be about midfield. She's a little bit deep going into that first corner. Then Sarajevo, Backman, Scissor Kick, followed by Kamayon. Shooting to Win. Hallowed Crown is back second last. He's out 3 wide, but he does have cover. And Modoc's last of all. Egret took them to the 800 to lead by a long neck on Sniper Fire. Back in behind them, Nostradamus gets a good run back along the rail. Better Lands out a little bit wider and splitting them, Almalad. Followed by Bring Me the Maid. Scissor Kickers right off the track. He's having a torrid run. Followed by Scratch Me Lucky and Press Report. Hallowed Crown is tracking up 3 and 4 wide. Followed by Backman. Then Sarajevo, Kamayon Shooting to Win and Modoc last of all. It's Egret in front. Lead from Sniper Fire. Better Land chiming in on the outside. Nostradamus is cutting through with Almalad down to the inside. Hallowed Crown and Scissor Kick are coming down the outside. Scissor Kick out in the centre with Hallowed Crown. They've moved up now to take over from Almalad and Nostradamus. And then Shooting to Win. Hallowed Crown is coming at Scissor Kick. Hallowed Crown and Scissor Kick. Hallowed Crown got his head in front. Hallowed Crown remains undefeated. Beats Scissor Kick photo for third between Almalad and Shooting to Win. Then in behind them, Nostradamus, followed by Bring Me the Maid, Press Report, Modoc, Sarajevo, then Egret, Kamayon, Scratch Me Lucky, followed by Sniper Fire, Blackman and Better Lands at the tail of the field.
Number 3, Hallowed Crown. He makes it 4 starts, 4 wins. Hugh Bowman wins the feature. The Borderly Wines Golden Rose. Number 3, Hallowed Crown. He covered ground, but he had cover. And the horse that he had cover on was number 5, Scissor Kick. Herculean performance by Scissor Kick. Was 4 wide without any cover and had to make a long run. His run was super duper. And the photo for third is
Scissor Kick, who you gave a big chance to there. Gee, he did it tough, and then Huey came off his back, and it was so important, the tactic.
Beat Scissor Kick, photo for third between Almalad and Shooting to Win.
And that's 4 out of 4 for Hallowed Crown, and that's 4 in the big race, the Golden Rose for Huey Bowman. And it's win number 1 at Group 1 level for James Cummings, who joined us this morning, of course, training in partnership with his granddad, Bart. That's 260.
Very much, Bruce. Yeah, it is, absolutely. And it's good for the team, good for the stable. We had a nice winner at Kembla Grange too there yesterday, and it's good to keep things ticking over.
Of course, it was the week 2.
Coming down the centre.
Field really slowed down from the 1,000 to the 400 there, so that really enabled him to creep into the race. And it's vital to be able to get on the back of a horse going well and bringing you into the race. Hugh was able to do that. We'd spoken about that at length prior to the race. I know when he jumped out, he had half a thought. There was always that option to slide forward with Sniper Fire, who'd drawn alongside us. But like I mentioned before, he's got the confidence to take a pull. Like you said, much in the same vein as Jimmy Cassidy on Zeus Star last year. And a good horse with an uninterrupted run. His momentum was maintained, and he was so determined that he was able to come away and get the win. It's a great attribute in that horse, and that'll mean he's going to have plenty more big performances like that.
James, you touched on it there. As a get-back run on horse, you're usually so dependent on tempo being able to bring you into the race, but this horse seems to be able to make up a heap of ground without spending too much energy, and that turn of foot's still there at the end.
Yeah, that's right. Look, he's only lightly raced. This is only his 4th start. That was the biggest field he'd faced, his biggest test. But who's to say that if when he does finally become a weight for age horse, he can't take up a position. He's got it all before him. He's going to keep learning. But from what we've seen, he's the ultimate professional. He relaxes in his races.
Really was. I haven't seen the race, but I dare say the winner followed me. I went up with a tough run. I was 3-4 deep the whole way, no cover, and to do what he done, he's a good horse. So, you know, it's very disappointing for all.
Sort of got onto Huey's back 700 from home when the pressure really went on, and got excited at the furlong, thought I was a winner, but he's still running this horse, and he's got a lot ahead of him.
Well, that's what we're expecting, and it really feels like a mile of this preparation, and I guess he won his Group 1 over a mile, but feels like he's going to get a lot further than that. He sprinted well, but he was just a little bit one pace at the end of his run, but you know, he's a Group 1 horse. We already know that.
His first Group 1 winner in partnership with his grandfather, Bart. And the jockey was Hugh Bowman. Yes, he's won 4 times.
He's a miler. Do you think he should come back and stay fresh for the Coolmore? What sort of a feel does he give you?
The feel he gives me is more of a miler. He's such a progressive top with a...
You got on the back of Scissor Kick. Poor old Scissor Kick. He just dragged you around that course. Are you going to share some of your fee with Ty Anglin? Because really, I just made that for you.
Well, one thing I can vouch for is Ty's a good judge of pace, because when they all settled down and really stacked up, he didn't have many options, but he made his move at the right time, and it played into my hands. But even though this horse drew awkwardly, and the plan wasn't just to go back, he actually jumped well, and I
last 6 or something like that. The quality of the 3-year-old seems to be quite strong this season. I know it might be going off a bit early, but the numbers in Melbourne, the 3-year-olds are strong. How strong was that race yesterday, do you feel, going into races like the Caulfield Guineas?
Well, I think it is a strong year, to be honest. They're good, big, mature colts. You know, I suppose the fillies had the wood on this generation as 2-year-olds, but I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if the fillies stand up to the colts this year. But
few of the, you know, I wanted to follow the A, B, C, or D, but Bring Me the Maid found herself on the back of Ugret and also Sniper Fire. Well, they were never going to go further than to the 100-metre mark, and then she never really saw clear daylight. That's her in the Baldy Face if you watch her.
Better Land, she's behind.
Yeah,
he didn't take her anywhere.
Yeah,
and she ran into a bit of a dead
end. And then
end
she
here,
ends up
didn't she?
behind the two pacemakers who were tiring. So
yeah,
very forgiving for Bring Me the Maid. Look, they all come simultaneously down the outside here in the one lane, didn't they? Scissor Kick, as we've spoken about, tragedy. You know, 4 and 5 deep, made a long sustained run, and he was entitled to lay down at this stage, and he didn't. But good luck to the winner. He's an unbeaten colt. And it's amazing when horses win, they continue to win. And I thought he was pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, Ron,
these are the boys on show with the Living Legends. And this is Chivalry heading off the market. He could be a living legend. He's got the wraps on him from jockey Glenn Boss. Let's see what he can deliver.
And Zebulon is straight out the back. He's 2 lengths last. And Moon Over Manhattan, one of the first to show, but Forgive and Forget now drives over from out wide. Turfane is up on the speed as well, and Zululand isn't far away from them also. So it's now speed, and he's back there with Zebulon on the inside. Turfane, the leader, coming up towards the turn, a length in front. Zululand is running second. Moon Over Manhattan right behind them on the inside as they swing around the turn, and then Forgive and Forget, who's been on a wide run all of the way. And Davana's coming deeper with Marion when they corner into the straight now. And let's see, Chivalry getting right to the outside, but about 7 lengths away. Turfane is headed now by Zululand. Forgive and Forget. Moon Over Manhattan going for a run between the leaders. Raposo the fence. Marion's wider, and Chivalry coming right down the outside, about 6 across the track. Moon Over Manhattan on the inside, now grabbed by Marion. Marion strikes the front from Moon Over Manhattan. Chivalry after Marion. Marion and Chivalry come down to the line. Against some Chivalry the outside, and that's very close between them. Marion Chivalry leave it to the judge, and a photo for third as well. Moon Over Manhattan and Zebulon. There was your eye catcher. He's come from last stop.
Waiting on print. Inside will get it. Number 3, Marion gets it. In the photo, we'll show you that. Chivalry loses no admirers today. He goes under by a millimetre after all that pre-race drama, but he runs well. Zebulon.
Marion bounces back to beat Chivalry. Bossy says post-race, I won't beat him again, not at set weight. Chivalry, of course, he got very stirred up when resaddled pre-race. Zebulon outstanding after.
Well, he's out the back, and you need a lot of things to go right for these horses that have got this style of racing, but Marion was come out of the Rich Enough race. So that really franked that form. He was every bit as good as Chivalry here.
I know he had his colours lowered yesterday, Chivalry, but I wouldn't be worried at all. The pace in this race, there was no pace in it. He was stitched up by the pace. He accelerated as best he could. They were all accelerating at the time. He got out-towed by Merion. There's just a little bit more acceleration from Merion at the right stages of the race. Got him the win, but as the races stretch out, I think Chivalry is going to put himself more and more in the picture, and he'll be able to race a bit handier.
Well, here, unbeaten second up. I think despite her 59, she can beat these. Solicit, well, you tie her in strongly through Forever Loved. It's easy to...
Got to love it. Froggy was just saying.
Longer odds, Lorna May, 31 into 21 as we go to Greg.
His third victory in this Let's Elate Stakes. Away they go. Nautical and Winter Chiller both slowed by about a length or so, and Solicit is the first out, lands narrowly the leader with Gregors on her outside. It goes to the race mappers pattern early, leading by 2 lengths to Dear Demi, getting over into third outside Lorna May. A length and a half away in the field, Commanding Jewel, just trapped out a little bit deep around Viadana, and Nautical getting up on the rails, almost about a half a length away to Benares in front of Gregors, and 2 lengths away Commanding Jewel. No luck, she's been posted 3 deep and she moved up within a length of the leaders now, and then Dear Demi, Lorna May, followed by Benaria. 2 behind them is Viadana between runners. Gig improving her place on the outside, and then Nautical, who's on the rails, and Winter Chiller at the end of the field. Coming around the home turn now, and Gregor's given full board, moved up to Solicit, and they share the front. Commanding Jewel going with them, but she's been out there on a limb all of the way, followed by Lorna May, and then Dear Demi, and further back is Benaria. Below the 400 metres now, Gregor's leading narrowly. Commanding Jewel still there and finishing. Solicit battling away well on the rails, and then Dear Demi at the 200. Commanding Jewel, brave as ever, drew about a neck in front of Gregors. Dear Demi, Nautical starting to come home. Commanding Jewel in front. Dear Demi diving up on the inside. Commanding Jewel, she's all out, but she gets in. Commanding Jewel, a big win from Dear Demi. Photo for third, and that's between Benaria and Nautical. Next to finish out wide was Gig, followed by Viadana, and Gregors weakened out just a bit far for her today. Lorna May next.
Tremendous race. Commanding Jewel goes back to back, and that's why Oliver's a champ, because there was no tempo in the race, and he was going to be 3 wide, but he might as well be 3 wide up on the speed as 3 wide back, and it made the difference because Dear Demi then got into a spot where she just couldn't build momentum. She was fantastic again. There's a big race in her this spring, Dear Demi. She's absolutely flying, but Commanding Jewel, it's an emotional victory here for the team Corstons and the owners. It's been a long. They're aiming at the Cox plate. That's what they've said this week.
No cover, still too good for them. Dear Demi, touch unlucky, terrific second up. And Nautical measured.
Win from Dear Demi. A big win. Well done to Team Corstons there. Jimmy Cassidy questioned over why he didn't persevere inside of Gregors there, but she's absolutely flying, Dear Demi. She'll win something.
Funny, we need wagering turnover, but we've got to look after our customers. And if a jockey weighs in light, we can't take the money off our punters. We need to refund that serious situation there. And plus, it takes because it's wrong.
Of course it's wrong. It's ridiculous.
And Dear Demi was super duper, but I thought the winner was super. I straight after the race, there's a few people there at Rose Hill. Ollie and Jimmy Cassidy, the 2 of the jockeys in Australia, Bruce and Shark, that I just think can sit 3 deep and they get their horses still to travel and win races.
Well, the thing there, Rich, sort of event, wasn't it?
Here's the market for the Danehill Stakes. This is one of the best races of the day. Some real talent on show here. Brazen Beau's your favourite. Chris Waller, of course, just a big winner in Sydney. But where do you stop looking? First times to get a full bottle assessment of what ran well, what didn't.
Brazen Beau jumps well towards the inside, and away fast was Nordic Empire, and Stingray out in the middle began fast. Rich Enough looked to jump pretty well over towards the outside also, and Cornrow's going to be about the middle of the pack. Wangena's going through, and down near the inside runs to the lead. It's Wangena ahead of Brazen Beau, and the gold colours closer to the inside. A bit wider out, Galaxy Pegasus is very prominent. He's up there ahead of Get the Nod, and just behind them Stingray, and Rich Enough was out wider on the course, very close to the leading bunch. Berluti in the red colours down towards the inside, and they were being tracked up by Awesome Rock. Looks like the Cat. Back behind the Moonlight Hustler on the outside of Gibberlines, and a fair way back. Go Indigo's back last with Onerous and Cornrow out very wide. They come to the 300. Brazen Beau goes to the lead now, but Galaxy Pegasus and Rich Enough are joining in ahead of Stingray, and then came Looks Like the Cat at the 200 metres. Rich Enough takes the lead now from Brazen Beau. Looks Like the Cat And Gibberlines are starting to come home well. Rich Enough, the leader from Looks Like the Cat. About 50 to go. Rich Enough, 3/4. He's wandering around a little bit, but he'll get home. Rich Enough beats Looks Like the Cat by a neck. 3 lengths away third. Gibberlines got home hard from Awesome Rock, Brazen Bow Weekend, and then Stingray Onerous. A break to Beluti, Moonlight Hustler. Galaxy Pegasus folded up, followed in by, behind those was Moonlight Hustler and Get the Nod. Wandjina dropped out. Cornrow didn't come on, and Go Indigo beaten a long way from home.
Well done to Kenny Keys. He's got the horse a lifetime he's waited to have, and Rich Enough today. Gee, he was comprehensive, I thought. Runner-up's going to be good for the Guineas perspective, I would have thought, in Looks Like the Cat.
100 onto the Guineas would be a really good option still.
That's your preferred go?
Well, it's a great story for Kenny Keys. Bred it, races it with his wife and a partner, and who was up in Noosa, I think, yesterday watching it. They're knocking back $1 million offers, and they've got a good horse. Been a hard worker for a long time, Kenny, and well done to him, Shark. Horse looks to have the potential is there to get to the Guineas, no doubt. The pedigree is there to get to the Guineas on the dam side, the half one out to 2,000 metres.
And you wouldn't write him off getting towards a mile on the strength of that win, because what we saw yesterday, as opposed to Moonee Valley, where it was just sheer sustained speed, there was a lot of fight in that victory yesterday from Rich Enough. The sectionals there on your screen highlight what a good run it is. Home 22.96, 11.84. That's a very, very good time. First time down the straight, just looked like an old pro at it, didn't he? He handled it beautifully. Looks like the Cat obviously ticking over well. It's a nice run for it first up. Gibberlines was one that I really liked, hitting the line nicely from way back in the field. You'd think getting towards 1,400 metres with a slight weight penalty there. And he'll improve. And what about the grey in this race, Bruce? Onerous. Third fastest sectionals from the 400 and the 200 on one rein. He basically wanted to lay in from the 400. He only was a maiden winner before that, but an impressive one. He could be a serious talent, Onerous. I really want to follow him.
Okay, out of the race, Brazen Bow lame. Go Indigo. Jock said felt a miss in the action, vetted clear, and so too did not the not vetted clear. Rider said felt not quite right in the action.
Maybe yesterday was a perfect track, but it was a genuine good 3 track. Some of these horses have been racing on dead ground. They're young horses. Maybe just that exposure to that genuine firm surface might have found a couple out. Across the day, it looked
all pulled up with someone else's. Chivalry's your favourite now from Hallowed Crown. Now, how do you line that up for you, James? When do you make a decision about coming, and do you run again?
I think if we run it today, handle it beautifully.
Yeah, look, I'm blown away by this horse. He going into this meeting, I thought, well, this is the race of the day. You know, there'll be a handkerchief over some of these good colts, and to think that these two singled out from a field like this, they run similar time to Chautauqua later on, which is very good when you see 3-year-olds doing that. Look, there's something about him. He just looks too brilliant to think he could run a mile. If he does, we're talking champion.
I'm exactly with you there. I'm suspicious that he's just a sprinter. Nothing wrong with being a sprinter, a very good one. But as a 3-year-old, he probably can stretch out to 1,600 metres. Maybe he's an older horse, he'll be a pure sprinter. I was very impressed with Looks Like the Cat second too. He looks like a horse that will run a further trip.
Well, he's already proven he's good in Brisbane over the winter and the mile behind Almalad and Brazen Bow.
He might be a Caulfield Guineas Derby horse, that horse. I got a big rap on him. I loved his action. I love the way they singled out. Yeah, 6 for him.
There's still a bit of water.
Little matinee at Moonee Valley in the William Reid was pretty good. This is the time of the year for Faulkner, and he went to a new level last campaign, obviously capped off by the Caulfield Cup. And the Melbourne Cup run was excellent. And now he's, of course, an Emirates winner, course and distance, and should be ready to peak today. Gets firm. Probably needs this one to really bring him right on.
He went back. He found some traffic fresh. He certainly...
He's going to get the sweet run here. He over-raced a touch on the Memsy and still put them to the sword. And you would still think there's upside for him.
Well, I just loved the way he put the race away. He set off them, he over-raced, he took some riding, but then I am 396. And
here is dissident. He's got a great attitude, it seems to be, behind the gates there.
That's it. No, you noticed up there he's nice and relaxed now. He's dropped off a bit, but look, all these horses are paraded beautifully. And
dissident for the Group 1 running of this year's Makybe.
And the starters caught them pretty well. Green Moon and Spillway go back in the early part. Faulkner got away well, and Don Dorimo showing some speed with Croissant Staloon. Dissident is up there with them, and Massini about 5 wide through the first couple of 100 metres. Boban just off them, but he's racing erratically. He might have got tightened up and lost a bit of ground there. They settle eventually with Massini now going to the front by 2 lengths. Dissident second, Don Dorimo 2 lengths away third, and Nectar Faulkner. 2 behind them, Poisson Staloon on the inside, being followed by Sartorius. They're followed 2 lengths away, then 2 Super Cool outside. Boban a fair way back on the fence, and 2 behind them is Spillway, and Green Moon is last. 900 left to go. Massini by a length, Dissident, and they've got away 6 lengths in front. Don Dorimo and Faulkner together next. A length and a half away is Sartorius outside, Poisson Staloon. Boban next with Super Cool, and 2 lengths to Spillway, Green Moon. Massini the leader coming around the home turn. Dissident getting a little bit closer, and so too is the field as they diminish that gap on the first 2 horses. Moving into third, placing out wider was Sartorius in company with Faulkner, and Super Cool's on the move behind them, and Boban has threaded through. Schofield's got him in a challenging role. Massini at the 400 from on the outside, Dissident. Boban just behind them trying to find the way through. There's no gap at the moment, and Faulkner's joining in, followed by Poisson Staloon. Dissident narrowly, Faulkner challenging at the 200. Boban with a needle-eye gap on the inside, which closed. Now it's Faulkner and Dissident with 100 to go. Dissident the inside, Faulkner. Dissident fighting on really strongly. Dissident kicks Bell in from Faulkner, one at a short half head. A length away third, Poisson Staloon. Spillway got home, followed by Sartorius, Green Moon, and the unlucky Boban. And further back was Super Cool. Massini second last, and Remo last in.
Well, a truly legitimate weight for age star here. Just and he gets the photo beating Faulkner. What sort of campaign is he in for? Brilliant today. And Poisson Staloon runs a brave third here, but honours go to a tough, under siege Dissident from Faulkner. Was prepped up to go here. Simona's scenes, million.
Love it when a horse is genuine like that and digs in.
But he's a really good colt, this horse. He had a nice run outside the leader, and Faulkner headed him halfway up the run, and he had to dig deep, and he really dug deep, and he deserved the win.
The fact that you jumped and put him positive.
But big time player, this bloke now, Jeff, isn't he?
Yeah, it's his second Group 1. He's won it at this trip where he's had to tough it out, the Randwick Guineas, and then today he never gives up, and he had a good one hunting him down, so pleasing result.
Okay, well, what's the plan?
Well, looking at the race, I don't think we learned a lot about if he's a Cox Plate horse or is he going to be more effective at a mile. I'm hoping to get some help from Pete here in a text message, but nothing's coming through, so...
A short half head.
Well, terrific race, and he makes it 3 Group 1s on his CV of just 5 wins, but 3 of them at Group 1. Wow. But where does he go? The Underwood Stakes next week. Does he back up in the Rupert Clark, or does he wait and go to the Turnbull Stakes? That's for Peter Moody to decide. All through here in 62.45 off Vince Accardi's daily sectionals here, first 1,000. So set up for him. A heap of good runs, but let's talk about him. Legitimate big-time player, wherever he goes.
He's just gone to a new level, hasn't he, Bruce? His 2 runs, his preparation have been absolutely outstanding. 2 Group 1 wins. And the toughness there that he showed under fire. Faulkner's a seriously good horse and very, very good at Flemington. And he was there to beat him. Dissident just really responded over that last 100 metres. He'd been in front for a little bit and really picked up again to the line. He's going to be a massive player in anything that he goes towards next. I thought Faulkner was excellent. Interesting prep, English-style prep, isn't it? Going straight onto a Cox Plate now. And you think he'd be spot on for a race like that. 2,000 metres around the valley would be no problems at all. Boban was really disappointing at the 300.
We'll get to him.
We'll get to him, but gee, the real Boban would have let down and been right in that finish. He was flat. Green Moon, what a racehorse he is. Weight for age, whether he's a true weight for age horse, I'm not sure. Gee, I'd like to see him back in a handicap, maybe a Caulfield Cup. He'd be something to beat there on that run.
No, you think you'll see him in a Melbourne Cup, Shark. Rich?
It was a fantastic effort first up there, and I'd imagine over further he's going to be better.
I think he ran super. He's been beaten by 2 super horses. Gone down to 3/4 length, and I just think he's today's the best he's felt for me, and now looking forward to going into the Turnbull.
They slowed up mid-race, and but I was really happy with the way he finished off. His horse is going really well.
It was a lovely run. Just the last furlong, they just sprinted away from him, which is not really his style. He normally catches anything that's in front of him, and wasn't to be today.
Wasn't it mistakes? I guess Peter Moody has to decide now. Is he look, he's a superstar miler. There's no question about that. But can he push him that little bit further and run him in the Cox Plate?
Oh, jeez. It'd be tempting, wouldn't it? He's a horse that's just showed tremendous courage at both wins. I thought that was a sensational win yesterday. He's chased a leader rolling along. He was vulnerable when the the swoopers got up to him coming to the turn here. You think, what have you got left? And he pulled out plenty. He's an iron horse, this fellow. And look, I'd be giving him an opportunity to prove himself if he hasn't already done that to run in a Cox Plate.
I think, where else do you go?
What other option?
That's what I mean. He's got to sort of push that way and see if he makes it. And if he doesn't, then change tack after that. I just don't know where else you go. I love the way he fought here because Faulkner, brilliant return to the track for Faulkner. That's an absolutely brilliant return. He, according to Ben Melham, Faulkner headed him. Now, it's hard to tell on the camera here, but about there, he might have headed him. And Dissident lifted again. It's just a sign of a very good weight for age horse. He's got that turn of foot. He's got an ability to quicken. And you've got to have that to win weight for age and set weight type racing. And he's got it. And, yeah, he's got to go to the Cox Plate. I don't think there's any other...
Epsom? Well, they not bring him up to Sydney and run him at Randwick in the Epsom?
Him in an Epsom worth, what, $500,000 when you can run in a Cox Plate for millions?
Well, he loves the mile.
Yeah, okay. You've got to chase the money with horses like him. Look, I thought Puissance de Lune was good. Again, he gets a tick. Super Cool, was it Super Cool? No, not Super Cool. It was a Spillway with an excellent run. He's got a handicap written all over him. And whether he can sneak into a Caulfield Cup, I don't know. Bourbon, yes, disappointing?
Oh, had to be. I mean, Greg Miles in his call, he must have taken his eye off him because when Greg saw him, he was going for a run that was very tight. And Greg thought he might have been unlucky. He got into that run, and the run went quicker than he did. He's been disappointing this spring so far.
Proud. We've only got 7 minutes to go here, so I'm going to get stuck in before I wax lyrical about the barriers 12 and 14 winning there in Sydney. The Bobby Lewis comes up next.
And Chautauqua jumped just reasonably. Horses around him did beat him out. Temple of Boom and You're So Good. And also In Cahoots up there. Charlie Boy got away pretty well in the red colours and down towards the inside. Flamberge had got away quickly and he's one of the leaders with Sistine Demon. They're the two in front. From Sea Lord right behind them, and Elmer's Fury is quite prominent in about fourth placing. Now moving up British General on the outside and Temple of Boom outside of In Cahoots. Charlie Boy just in behind them. Down towards the inside, Mr. Milton in the blue colours was closest to the inside rail. He was being followed Bonhoeffer, or Bon Rocket, I should say. And Lonspresso's a fair way back. So is Akavurin. Chatak was back about second last. Speediness is last. 300 to go now. Flamberge moved up on the inside and went to the lead from Sistine Demon. Elmer's Fury running a race. Tango's Daughter putting in a run the inside. Temple of Boom coming within Cahoots and Chatak with the widest runner. They're starting to storm to the leaders now. Out wider, Chatak was coming with a booming finish. He's sprinted up on the outside. Chautauqua races away. Chautauqua draws clear by 2 lengths. Temple of Boom second. In Cahoots and Sistine Demon for third with Akavurin and Speediness. Elmer's Fury just off them. Followed closely in the field Lonspresso, Tango's Daughter, Flamberge the inside, and then Pago Rock. Followed then by Bon Rocket and Sea Lord. And further back, Charlie Boy. Back behind those Sweetest Brain never came into the race. You're So Good, one of the last. Mr. Milton towards the end of the field.
Wow, what a win. Have a look at this in isolation if you can when you watch the replay. You watch Dwayne Dunn. He basically rides this like he knew that was going to happen. He sat at the back watching. There you are. Lovely picture of Dwayne. Pose for the photo. But, okay.
Good. He's got a bit of attitude and, yeah, I should have won the Scone Guineas on him, but we always thought he's a very, very nice horse, and today he really launched off the back of him.
He's... Horse, but he was half expecting it. You know, he's got a massive opinion.
Spring here and now, and he wins like that first up. You've got to be targeting some good
triplex. Tip Boom second.
I thought Speediness and Akavurin were good, but then they were in a different race to Chautauqua. Shark just descended on them. Not going to the Epsom, going to stay in Melbourne, but there's a rich offering on here for Chautauqua.
Ridiculous win, Bruce. Absolutely ridiculous. I can't remember an easier straight track win from a horse of that class. And he just embarrassed them, really. You know, as you said, Dunn was getting to them at 400, even the 300 when he asked him to go. He just had so much horse there. And that turn of foot, 21.84, or 21.84 rather, and 11.30. Very, very good. This is a serious horse. Some suggestion this morning from the owners that he might be kept at sprinting. There was some talk of an Emirates preparation. And I think after that win and the ease of that straight track victory, there's a bit of a line of thought now that he may just stay to some straight track targets during the spring.
Well, Mark, you've seen plenty of him. At the 1400 metres has been his premium in the past.
He's a pretty handy sprinter himself, but that was impressive. I think Dwayne Dunn's as good as rider in the country.